dialed in to Bucks and Brews, you might hear something you can use. Like tips on your cash or tips on the suds. You're gonna want to use the smarts of these stuff. Cause they know the brews, and they know the Bucks, and they know they can't help the stubborn fucks. So listen up, cause shit's not funny. And save yourself some beer money. Bucks and Brews.
Bucks and
Bucks and Brews.
Bucks and Brews.
Welcome back to Bucks and Brews. We have a special episode this week, Nick.
Oh, to end the year.
To end the year, we are visiting with somebody we met on our cruise.
Yeah.
I will let Chris introduce himself.
This is a man of world travel. And
I don't want to fuck up his last name, honestly.
Say one of the great people.
Tribuizo?
So real quick,
It doesn't look too hard.
but let's say I'm going to tell you what I'm drinking. So Bud Light Seltzers, my wife picked this out for me. It's the limited edition box. It's cocktail hour. So I have a lime margarita, strawberry daiquiri, watermelon mojito, and tropical punch.
I might have to steal one of those.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. Starting out with this lime margarita, it's pretty good. What do you got over there?
I have some special stuff. So I got this. I picked this one out because it's from New York. And Chris is from New York. So it's a 1911 cider donut, premium small batch hard cider.
Nice.
It is delicious.
It was really good.
After that, I have from Portland, Maine, Lone Pine Brewing Company, a Hot Fudge Monday Imperial Stout, brewed with chocolate, cocoa nibs, lactose, and hazelnut extract.
Ooh, and it's unfiltered. Just reading off the back real quick.
And after that, I have, from one of our favorite places, Untitled Art, who always has great art on their cans, a chocolate cinnamon churro pastry stout. So I'm eating dinner tonight.
Let's say
in my glass.
I was going to say that's a diabetic attack waiting to happen.
It sure is.
Hi, guys. Listen, Bucks and Brews, Nick, Dave, Mike, nice to see you guys yet again. It's been way too long.
Way too long.
My name is Chris Tribuizo. My friends call me Tribz. I am part of a three-person podcast known as Mickey's Marvels, where we discuss everything Disney under the Disney umbrella. We are on a 6-month hiatus, as you can tell for those that listen to the show. We were 6-month hiatus, as you guys know, being podcast bayside when you are not making money, and this is a hobby. So that being said, we are on a 6-month hiatus. We will be back next year, 2023, mid-January, and coming back to your ear holes. And once again, guys, thank you very much for having me on. It's nice talking to you.
We're so excited to have you. I know I was listening to the Obi-Wan episode the other day, and I was very excited listening to that. Nick's looking at me like, what the fuck am I talking about?
Oh, Obi-Wan, the Star Trek guy. I get it.
Fuck you, dude.
Dude. Oh, sorry. I'm going to interrupt. This is hilarious to me. So I've been trying to get David a gift, and my wife even said, hey, you're going to bring them that gift today. And I said,
you forgot.
And it's still sitting at home where the fucking thing is. And she said the name of Baby Yoda.
Grogu.
Yeah. And so she goes, hey, there's a Grogu pan or whatever. And I was like, I don't fucking know who Grogu is. And I was like Goku from Dragon Ball Z or something. She's like, no, it's Baby Yoda. And I was like, oh man, that is kind of nerdy. So
George,
he forgot your gift, but brought the beers. That's a true friend. That's a true friend.
The funny thing is I forgot the beers too. I live 7 houses from the end of the street, maybe 5. I was 3 houses from the end and put my car in reverse to back up and grab the beers that my wife just bought me out of the truck, because that's how forgetful I am.
Yep.
If my wife doesn't pack my shit, my daughter said this yesterday. She said, Dad, you're not a child. Well, Mom does pack all your stuff for you, so kind of. And I was like, damn, just calling me out like that.
I mean, I'm gonna wait.
So no beer, no present. Why are you not recording from your truck? That's my question.
Yeah, no shit.
David thinks that my internet on my phone is not that great.
It's horrible.
So.
It's horrible.
I will say right now, I brought all of the merch that I could bring on the cruise, and Nick didn't bring shit. He didn't even bring fucking shirt.
Bring his shirt because his wife didn't pack
any of it. Yeah, so your daughter's right. You're a child.
I'm a fucking man child.
And we're like,
right?
Why didn't you pack your own stuff?
Yeah, everybody's like, wait, you didn't pack? And I was like, I haven't packed for myself. I've been married 12 years. I haven't packed for myself
in 14.
Well, right. We've been dating.
I was going to say, what is it? You're 35 now?
Yeah, no, I'm 34. I packed, my mom went into the hospital over in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I packed for that. I grabbed my book bag and some boxers, shorts, and a couple shirts. And my wife's like, "Do you have everything?" And I was like, "No idea." I was like, "We're gonna find out when I get there." And I was like, "Worst case scenario, I'm going to a big and tall store and I'll buy something." I was like, "But I have enough at least for a couple days." And she's just like, "Jesus, I don't know how you make it in this world." And I was like, "You, literally, the answer is you."
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't get. I've been wearing these jeans probably for God knows how many days now and she's like, "Hey, there's new jeans over there." And I'm like, "Yeah, but they're not on the spot in the bathroom where they're supposed to be." So I haven't changed them, I'm like, dude, if she doesn't do everything the exact, I literally, I can't function for myself. People think I'm good at this. I'm not. I'm
So,
not good at this
here's
at all.
something.
The people
So
who
here's
know
something
you're
from-
not good at it.
Yeah.
So here's something us common guys don't look at, right? You know, the women look at everything in detail. When we get pairs of pants, how many of you guys turn around and just put the pants on and don't realize after you took off all the tags, there's that cellophane sticker on the side of the pants that has the size on it, and you end up
I know
walking
that,
out
'cause
the
I've worn it
door.
out I've worn it out too many times.
I've done it plenty of times, but usually when I put new pants on, my wife wants to see them, so she always grabs that sticker. Okay, so and she'll be like, "Here." Of course I've walked out with them, and then I probably the one time that somebody was like, "Jesus, you wear that big of pants?" Like, I make sure I check from then on, or just because I'm like, you don't have to see what size I wear to know I'm fat. All right, I can tell you that. You know what the worst? So we just talked about. I don't know if we were on air, but we were talking about getting a kilt.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a kilt made, and nothing made me feel fatter than having to measure myself and going with this ruler. And like, my pants are a certain size, but that's not true size. Okay, you can get loose fitting pants apparently, and yeah, I'm like 6 inches bigger than what my pants waist says.
Yeah.
My buddy who's skinny as crap, and I was like, "Wow, you guys know how to make me feel great." He goes, "Shut up, I'm 6 inches above," and I was like, "In theory, so am I."
But in
So
the
this is
idea though
bad.
being a kilt, you don't wear a kilt where like your pants go. You do wear a tie.
I am wearing it where my pants are, because
Yeah,
otherwise
but I'm
they
just
won't
saying, but
make
normally
it big
it's
enough.
higher,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm wearing mine as a
And then you got
skirt.
the big belt that kind of covers where it actually is in your waist.
Nope, mine's a skirt. Let's be honest about it. It's a kilt skirt.
So we're being shitty here. We've
Yeah,
talked
sorry.
about what we're drinking, but we haven't talked about anybody else.
Mike, real quick before we get back to Chris, what are you drinking?
Him or me?
You.
Well, your name's Mike.
I've got a diet cream soda. And it's
Ooh.
going to be City of Portage tap water.
City of Portage. And
Chris, what you got, my friend?
This podcast is brought to you by the lovely folks at Great Value for their pure drinking water. We are not sponsored by them, however.
not yet.
Not yet.
Say,
We're still waiting for that Bud Light sponsorship. Trust me.
Trust
Nick
me.
drinks enough of it.
I'm
Oh
doing,
my gosh!
I'm doing Bud
So-
Light seltzers. Bud
But
Light
if I
can.
remember it, you guys will have some sponsorships next week. If I remember to bring it when I come.
That's true.
Ooh.
Mike has sponsored us for a little bit
A
here.
new year, new us. So Chris,
Yep.
you mentioned that you do a podcast. You mentioned a little bit. Now, we did say you're from New York, but you're not staying in New York right now.
No, I am a 27-year resident of beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. I left New York in 93, 94 during one of the big storms. Funny story in a Reader's Digest version. Of course, you guys know, living out in the Midwest, you know that snow sucks, right? You get
It
it
definitely
every
does.
year. You're out there shoveling sidewalks, shoveling your cars, 1-2 hours, maybe, whatever it takes. And during the winter storm of 94, my dad was shoveling the sidewalk, and his last shovel ended with a curse word. I don't know if I could say it on air.
Oh, of
but-
You
course, yeah.
absolutely can. We curse all the time.
Well, okay, so the shovel went down. He said "fuck," and the shovel went over his shoulder and said "you." From that point on, he called a family friend of ours who'd been out in Vegas well over 30 years, was in real estate, and says, "Start looking. It's about time." And the first thing out of her mouth was, "Does your wife know?" And at the time, my mom was working, so he said, "No, but she will when she gets home." 6 months later, they go out to Vegas. They find out, they buy a home and sell the home I was sleeping in New York. And October 17th came along, which was my birthday, and I got a one-way ticket to Vegas, and the
Hell
rest
yeah.
is history. So, but yeah, I don't I don't sever ties with New York because I'm from there. I do still have family there. I do still. It's where my heritage is. My family's back there or whatnot.
You sang a song about New York on the last night of the cruise.
I did. But you know, I don't sever ties much with that city. That city still holds true dear to my heart. It's where I've grown up for 20 years. My family's out there. Have I visited there? Sadly not.
Really?
Only because it's not that I don't want to go back. It's the fact that if I do go back, I will go missing for 2 weeks because I have so much family back there.
Yeah.
That if I don't see one and see another, word's gonna get out, and I'll be in the back of the Cadillac in a garbage bag,
Yeah.
you know, with a bag of lime sitting next to me.
Oh, you got a cousin Nikki too, huh?
I got a cousin Nikki, Uncle Vito,
Yeah.
you know,
Damn right.
all of those.
Oh.
But yeah, so I don't make it as often as I should, and I get cursed out as often as it happens. But yeah, I mean, I've been out here 24, 26 years. I've been at the same job for 24. I was really lucky to find a field that I'm interested in, and that is law enforcement or hotel security. My whole family was law enforcement back in New York. So though I didn't test high enough for NYPD when I came out to Vegas, I studied hotel law and all this other stuff, and security fell in my lap. No pun intended, because it did. It just so happened that at that time, that's what people did. It was like, hey, my friend Mike needs a job. You know, he's a bartender.
Yeah.
Can you get him one? Sure. Handshake, get him in. That was it. And that's pretty much how I got my job. And I kind of grew into it. You know, this podcast is about bucks. And, you know, back 26 years ago, the money was great.
Yeah.
The money, you know, a lot of people were getting peanuts, but the tips on the back end made up for your hourly wage. And as the years go on and technology improves, and you got companies like Uber and Lyft that come out, or even Samsonite luggage with the 4 wheels, right? Baggage or bell handlers used to take your bags.
Yep.
Nowadays you can roll them, so you don't need the bellman unless you have 6, 7 bags. So that bellman gets ripped off. In my eyes, now granted, I'm not a professional, but in my eyes, that bellman gets ripped off $5, $10. So, because you can roll your luggage, or that taxi driver or that doorman gets ripped off $1, $2 a turn.
Yep.
You know, because Uber is paying
fancy like 4 and 5-star hotels will they'll take your bags and
right. No, there is
not even they want you to be able to go in and check in without the hassle of your bag.
Of course, you know, and there is
at the pool or the bar or whatever else may be going on.
But there is that other contention. I will say, Mike, you are right. We'll say 95, 97%, but there is that 3 to 5%.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I got my bags, I can take care of it, you know, and you kind of lose out on the money. But yeah, the money's good, you know. And when you do something that you love, it's not work. And to be saying I have a job and I've been there 24 years at the same job is not a job. It's something I love. And I am a people person. You guys know. I am a people person. I get along with anybody. So yeah, that's just how it goes.
You know, it's funny. I hate everyone.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, I'll latch on to people. So we met Chris through trivia on the boat.
Yeah.
And I latched onto his ass because he was fun. He was having a lot of fun. We were having a lot of fun.
A few of them we met. That's how we met.
Emily and Ian.
Emily and Ian was trivia. Yeah.
And Chris was having so much fun. I'm like, we need to talk to this guy. And then he goes, yeah, I got a podcast too. And we're like, all right, well, we got stuff in common. Let's hit this guy up. And his story about New York resonates with me because originally from Chicago and very near and dear to my heart. And I go back to Chicago all the time because I mean, it's a 3-hour drive.
Yeah.
still have family in the area. And unlike Chris, I don't have to visit all of them because most of them don't fucking like me anyways. But
Well,
the couple that
you
do,
only have one family you have to visit when you're in the Chicago area.
it's my cousin Peg.
Yeah, I was saying you visit me and I don't like you, but I mean you still have to.
Yeah, but I mean, you may not like me, but you're stuck with me because I'm your asshole.
I said that line the other day. You know, I might be an asshole,
But I'm your
asshole.
asshole.
You're an asshole. And say, no, that's. I mean, dude, I'm glad that you have a career that you love and enjoy. And you had mentioned that your boss, you know, you told, you know, when you're close enough to tell your boss what you're doing at night, that means you have a good working relationship with that person. So,
and that's true in life too. And the thing is that, and we'll get into, I'm sure we'll get into, Nick, your Comic-Con experience and celebrities up front and whatnot, but you know, everybody puts their pants on one leg at a time. So your manager doesn't have to be that guy that's behind the glass that you can put your hand up and you can't touch. You have to talk to him. It's a working relationship. And
I thought of it more as do not pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
People do think like that, but you know what? In order for you to have your voice heard, in order for your manager to see your worth, you know, they have to know you on a level to put you to that level, to know that, okay, you may not be good at X, but you're good at Y. So you know what? I'm going to give you the Y assignments, but I will coach you on the X assignments, and together we'll have teamwork, and that's the Z component.
gosh,
If that makes any sense.
How are you not management?
Yeah, seriously.
I am.
Oh, okay. It's like,
that's
because
I am.
like, but no, the problem is normally people like him who actually think that way are not, right? Because they don't, you know, my last boss, when I had my career, my job, whatever, like he just,
It wasn't a career, it was just a job.
it was a job, right? But like he didn't think that way. And I'm like, dude, there is so many people, and you have to understand, hey, Brian is here for his kids. This guy's here for the money. This guy's here, you know, for the health insurance. Like,
Yeah.
we're, you know, he is only here because his wife makes him get out of the house. Like, you have to understand that these are the things. And this guy has bad knees. You don't put him on the walking all day. You put him, you know, and so he's like, well, man, you know a lot about your people. And I'm like, yeah, of course, they're my people. Like,
Yeah. You have to know them.
Yeah.
We
You know,
coached
they're-
together.
Yeah.
And we knew how to maximize those kids' talent.
Oh, 100%.
Because mind you, they had no talent.
Right.
But the little bit they had, we knew how to maximize
You,
it.
you don't know Taylor. Yeah, you got none.
So sorry, Chris, I interrupted.
No. But it's true. It's the teamwork. It's the gel. You know, there's a podcast that's out there. I believe it's called the Management Podcast. Sometime during the podcast, I'll take a look and see what it is. And it's the Holy Trinity. They talk about the Holy Trinity and how to do your one-on-ones with your people and how to get to know them and how to take their strengths and propel them and coach them on their weaknesses to make them their strengths. And it's a whole series on it. And I really live by wanting to see the best out of people.
Oh, that's
because you taking an interest in somebody that may reflect that maybe that was you 20 years ago that was lost and unguided and went through 10 years of management not caring about it or just putting you to the wayside thinking you're dead weight, you know, and that puts you off in the distance. Now here comes me, the manager comes in, sits down with, let's say, Mike, who's that despondent employee, and I take an interest in him and I see him one day a week for a half hour. I give him 10 minutes, he gives me 10 minutes, we talk for 10 minutes together. That half hour, the content that's in there, if it's really meaningful, will turn Mike 180 degrees and make him feel so much better about the job he can do and want to do more. That's the theory behind it. And there's a technique that you have to use, and you just have to listen. That's basically what it is. Sit and listen to your people. You know, granted, the buck stops with you, no pun intended, but the buck stops with you. But you can manipulate and do these things to help. You know, it does. Nothing is ever broken. It's always bent, right?
Let's say.
And you can bend it the right way to tweak.
Yep.
And still stay in those guidelines and still have a happy crew.
Oh, and that's, man, this is gonna be one of my favorite episodes.
I'm going to say this right now. Chris is going to be a regular contributor to Bucks and Brews.
This is going to be great. Because I'm all about this, right?
Mind you, hang on. If you ever need a guest for Mickey's Marvels, not him.
You might get one of the two of us, right? I mean,
not him. He doesn't know shit.
I love how Nick just takes Mike out of the equation. Like, you might get one out of two of us. Forget Mike on the bottom. You know, whatever.
Well, I mean, they're talking about the two on the poster.
We'll get him
a little bit. Like, I know a little Star Wars, not near as much as Dave, but a whole lot more than Nick.
But when it comes to Disney, I can tell you about the Disney.
About like the Marvel, different, movie universes, whether it's like X-Men or things like that. Not as much as Dave, but probably more than Nick.
I'm gonna announce something right now.
Yeah.
I paid for it. We are now in the Byron Township Comic-Con.
Thank you to all of our TikTok listeners.
I thought you were paying for that, by the way.
I will. I got some cash on me.
I paid for that. We're gonna have a booth with Jack Razor. We're gonna have his art.
Yep.
And then we're gonna have dice.
Yep.
To figure out what people are winning.
Yep. And we're gonna do Bucks and Brew stuff. So the reason that we have a Comic-Con table is we were on TikTok and we put a challenge out to our TikTok followers. If we get to 10,000 likes,
I think it was 1,000.
No, I think it was 10,000.
I believe it was 10,000 was that one, and then he was gonna do like VR Comic-Con if.
Yeah, the GR if we got to like 150,000 or something.
No, that was going to be filling that room last year during their Toys.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because you guys were getting presents. Yeah. If we filled the room, we were going to do the GR. But yeah, so we got 10,000 because dude, those people literally sat there with their fingers. We got 10,000.
Oh yeah, like Don and myself and maybe one other person.
Yeah, just
kept hitting
and David wouldn't shut the damn live off
I wouldn't.
But so we are officially doing it. My wife has to work that day. We're keeping our side of the bargain, right?
So Chris, because we're talking your podcast for the moment.
Well, let's talk about his podcast because he does all Disney.
He all Disney. Mickey's Marvels.
Which means I can be part of this as long as we talk about,
Mickey
princesses.
All the princesses that my daughter watches, and I might bring my daughter onto a podcast.
Do you know my favorite?
Why not? I mean, listen, our show. I mean, we do have a script for our show. It's the intro and the outro, but everything else in the middle is basically, if you look at our script, it's the intro and the outro. Everything else in the middle is idle chit chat and what about this? We may have certain topics, but we welcome anybody who comes on the show. Whoever wants to talk about Disney, whoever wants to talk about anything under the Disney umbrella, we're welcome to it.
So,
and I think that's what 2023 will bring. We're gonna start.
Do you guys do like a YouTube too, or just a podcast?
No, we don't. We are strictly in your ear holes, Google Podcast and iTunes. Spreaker is another way that you can get to us.
So you're not wearing Mickey ears while you're doing it?
No, unfortunately. And plus, unfortunately, I'm not. Nor do I have the Donald Duck boxers.
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
Not yet.
I don't have those. Not yet.
Send us your address, and I'm gonna figure out how to get this down.
Size 46.
God, dude. Just say, I remember when I was that low. That was a year ago. Yeah.
But yeah, we welcome anybody who wants to talk on our show. And I know, Dave, we talked about having you guys on when I was on the boat. It's just, like I said, real life happened.
It does.
We've been in 6 months hiatus, and we're really anxious to get back to 2023. So
that's what
I will tell you. I've listened. Like I said, I listened to the Obi-Wan episode. I've listened to, I don't know, a couple minutes of other episodes. Love what you guys do.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I think if you are interested at all in Marvel or Star Wars or Disney, that's the one to listen to.
Is Mary Poppins Disney?
Disney, yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
We did a Mary Poppins episode. We
I
did.
really
We covered the original.
I'm pretty sure I've seen every Marvel movie now. To be honest,
Finally,
no, I mean like throughout time. Yeah,
I bet you have not.
Well, I haven't seen the new Black Panther yet.
Oh my god, it's so fucking good.
So, but
Chris, what do you think of the new Black Panther?
I haven't seen it.
Oh my god,
I haven't seen it.
I fucking
didn't-
loved it.
But reason and
Tuesday
here's
I'm
the
going.
thing. Let me talk if I can just.
You
let me
can
just
do
get on
what
the-
you want.
The mic
Let-
is yours.
No, honestly, let me get on the soapbox a minute about the show. So the show is 3 years old. The show actually came to me through a good friend of mine now. It's like a brother to me. We used to podcast about Star Trek, and I guested on his show. I became fast friends with him. He's actually in New York. He lives there. We had a lot of things in common, and he came to me one day and said, I'm thinking about putting a Disney podcast together. And I said, okay. And he goes, would you want in? And the first thing I said, and Dave knows the next line that I'm going to say, and turns around and said, sure, who wouldn't want to be a kid again? And from that on, that became the tagline at the end of the show.
Really?
That sparked a podcast right from the jump. And that show really launched and put me into another realm of another fandom. Star Trek alone, and Marvel, of course, but Star Trek alone, in my experience, is the hugest sci-fi in general, the hugest fandom. Now
Really?
you have Disney that comes around, and Disney, because it encompasses the movies, it encompasses the parks, it encompasses the cruise lines.
Oh, for Star Wars.
No.
For anything,
yeah.
for Disney, period.
Disney does, but Star Trek also.
Is Star Trek Disney?
It's not.
Oh,
But
No.
Chris is like a huge Star Trek guy. Huge. And
So
they have everything that Disney has.
really?
They really do. They have their own conventions.
Mhm.
They have their own cruises.
Oh shit.
Oh, they do.
It's funny. I've probably seen a bunch of Star Trek, and I know nothing about it. James Tiberius Kirk, right?
Yep.
But like really, my uncle watched it every night. We lived with my uncle and stuff like we talked about this. But like,
Which episode?
dude, the
Like
old stuff. Dude, I was a kid.
original.
I was a kid, right?
Okay,
So
yeah.
like with Reading Rainbow, who has the thing.
Oh
right?
no, that was Next Generation.
So I've seen it
Yeah.
before even
LeVar Burton.
I seen it before even that. But
Mhm.
like I seen the original, and so but like I couldn't tell you a single episode. I just took no interest the entire time because I just never got. But like
I gotta ask a question.
Mash though,
Yeah.
like, Mash was my shit.
I love MASH. I gotta ask a question because we have Chris here and
Yeah.
he's a huge Star Trek guy.
Okay,
Mhm.
Do you think that the Chris Pine series lived up to Shatner?
Okay, so there's no,
He's
and
recording
this
for his
is not to
podcast.
knock. This is not to knock on anything. I'm gonna get into my Star Trek nerd.
sorry,
hat
real
for
quick.
a
Did
minute,
they
so-
play the same character? Sorry
They-
about that.
So Chris
Yes.
Pine was James Tiberius Kirk,
And
and
then
William
Shatner.
Shatner was James Tiberius Kirk.
Really?
Yeah, they were the same guy.
Oh, the only thing I know from Shatner and why it's famous is "Beam Me Up, Scotty."
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right,
which
that's
was
the thing.
which was never said in any episode.
It's just fucking hilarious.
literally was.
So like things I don't know, but like right. I'm not
No.
dangerous. You guys can quiz me and I will get all of them wrong,
He will.
right?
So before I answer your question, Dave, I'm gonna
Yeah.
put a challenge out to you guys for next year
Okay.
for 2023. There are over 700 hours of Star Trek. We get
There
it
are.
from the 1960 series to include 10 films, to include the new series that's on Paramount Plus now. I am going to issue you a challenge on air.
Okay, do that.
Next year, 2023, you guys we'll start January 2nd because you'll be off a hangover by then. But I'm gonna challenge you guys to watch a series of Star Trek. You can start however you want to start it. You can start chronological, you can start by year, however you want to start it in the timeline or whatnot. And you are gonna have an episode and talk about the series as a whole.
I can do that because honestly, I kind of want to watch the Picard series. Nick's looking at me like I don't know what the fuck that is. So
Okay, so go ahead. So is the Chris Pine series better than the original?
Yeah.
The idea
not
behind the Chris
necessarily
Pine
better,
series,
but how does it rate?
so the idea behind the Chris Pine series is J.J. Abrams. That's the
Mhm.
mind that's behind Alias. That's the mind that's Bad Robot.
Yeah.
The Bad Robot production. So
2 of the 3 sequels to Star Wars, which were
exactly.
ass.
We won't talk about Star Wars 8. But
Star Wars what?
Star Wars 8. That's the 8th one.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
the
Rian Johnson.
There's 8
Rian
now?
Johnson.
No, there were 9, and
There were 6.
no.
The originals were 6.
4, 5, and 6 are great.
Imagine the Star Spangled Banner.
Right.
So,
4, 5, and 6 are great, and the
So-
Mandalorian.
so how long is a series?
So well, now hold on a second. So the 60s had 3 seasons. So you're looking at 24 episodes for the first 2 seasons, and I believe somewhere is around 13 for the third. So that's the 1960s series. Then you had Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and
TNG went on for
Enterprise.
and Enterprise.
TNG
Those
was
were
on
all
for like
24.
10 years, wasn't it?
What's that? I'm sorry,
The
Mike.
Next Generation was on for like 10 years, wasn't it?
7 years. So
7
you have
years.
7 years of Next Generation, 7 years Deep Space Nine, 7 years Voyager, 4 seasons, 4 years of Star Trek Enterprise, and the 10 movies to include the Next Generation cast, and then the new series on Paramount, which is streaming. So maybe 10 episodes each season for a couple. So
There's
add
a
the math.
lot of Star Trek.
This is a challenge that I have to watch a full series.
Mhm.
That's correct.
And what do you want from me in the end?
So
To get on this
every
podcast
month,
and talk
every
about
month
this
I will
podcast
come on
and
the
talk
show.
about it.
Every month I'll come on the show, and it doesn't have to be Star Trek related, but every month I'll come on the show and I'll ask your opinion.
I like this.
Now, okay, so do you here because I'm lazy.
I'm not going to be
Here-
trivia. I'm not going to be like, hey,
Do
Nick,
you-
in season 3, episode 4,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Picard went and took a flying leap off a friggin' cliff. What color was the ocean? I'm
Right.
not going to do anything like that.
If
Do you-
it-
what
I'm
it's
gonna
not
do
gonna
is
be
I
like
want-
when they were
I want
playing,
honest opinions. I want
Parks and
honest
Rec
opinions.
trivia.
No, it's not, definitely.
Do
And
you
they
want me
were
to
talking
about
actually
being
watch
attacked,
it, or can I
in
be
a
playing
bar.
on my phone while I watch it?
You know, you need to watch.
Well,
it.
you can watch it. I'll tell you the truth. You can watch it, and believe me, like most any series, you're gonna see some clunkers, and that may turn you off. But just like someone told me for episode 1 of Game of Thrones, get past it and move on.
So, really? Because it's
yeah.
funny. Actually,
I'm
glad
totally
you-
trying to watch Game of Thrones, and I can't get past like episode 2.
I say my wife and I stopped on Game of Thrones after like episode 2 because of the raping and the killing and stuff. We just
Mhm.
we couldn't take it.
Yeah.
Like and because right, we wanted to enjoy each other, not sit here and like I love death, right? Like I'm so excited for the new John Wick. Okay. Like but that's what I mean. by
Have you
death,
watched The
action.
Expendables?
Oh no, I haven't. Not with
Like
like
the
Jean Claude
original.
Van Damme and with
No, the
Arnold and all
original.
that.
The original with Stallone and them,
No.
like the first one.
No.
So there's in the first 5 minutes,
Yeah.
Dolph Lundgren grabs out this hand cannon and cuts a guy in fucking half.
I'm in.
And I just started laughing.
Yeah.
And
Your wife was
she looks at me and she goes, "You are so fucking
What is wrong with
disgusting." What happened?
Dude, my brother and I, my wife has ruined me. Like she really has, because we'll watch like John Wick or something, and both my brother and I will be like, "Shut up," and she'll be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you boys?" Like, and
I
we're
get
just
that too.
that's awesome to us, right?
Yeah,
Like, but
she
all right,
totally hates everything I say.
So let's
one
No,
full
hang on.
series,
Go
one
ahead.
full
Talking.
series.
no. So I just want to get to answer to Dave's question before
Yeah.
we go 3 hours and I don't remember it. So start the Chris Pine series 2009, as they call it. They call it the Kelvin timeline. So
Yeah.
that was, of course, directed by J.J. Abrams. So the idea behind this was to make a spin, and the spin in this was, what if the timeline was fractured, caused by Spock, and now we have this alternate universe, and James T. Kirk wasn't immediately the captain of the Enterprise, or Captain Pike, didn't die a death, or whatever have you, all this other thing. What if Spock, didn't go to the Vulcan Science Academy, all this other things. So is it better? Yes, but only in that aspect.
Yeah.
If you watch 2009, which is on streaming right now, it's on HBO Max or Netflix or one of the two. If you watch that gets you jazzed up into it, right? Then you have In the Darkness, and In the Darkness is the mirror. I like to call it mirror because it's Star Trek nerdy, but it's the mirror of Wrath of Khan. And then you have Star Trek Beyond, which is the shoot 'em up, bang bang homage to Trek the original. I like it for the fact of the mirror or the fractured timeline, and to see where everybody was and how everybody came about for
So
what it is.
I want to tell a funny fucking story. So I don't remember what year Into Darkness came out. Whatever year it came out, we're going to Wizard World Chicago, which is now Fan Expo Chicago, because every company buys Comic Cons, and that's what happens.
Sure, we should buy one.
Reed Pop, I'm looking at you.
Totally should. And my daughter's like, "Oh my God, they're doing a panel on Wrath of Khan, Star Wars 2." And I'm like, "Cool." And she goes, "I'm totally gonna go to that." I'm like, "So you realize that is not the Star Trek 2 you think it is?" And she goes, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "You're thinking Into Darkness.
Yeah.
This is Wrath of Khan,
Right.
which is, it came out in like 1982 or 3?
82.
82.
Ricardo Montalban looking very
Ricardo
very
Montalban. That's exactly it.
Welcome to Fantasy Island.
And
Yeah.
she goes, "I don't give a fuck about that." And I went, "I'm sorry. That was Wrath of Khan."
Yeah.
But
This
she only
is
knew
City
Khan
Alpha
as,
5. Yeah.
she only knew Khan as Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
Who is Doctor Strange. You told me you've seen every
I have seen
Marvel.
Yeah,
Have you
yeah,
seen
know this-
Doctor Strange?
I have. I enjoy all of those.
So Benedict Cumberbatch
Yeah.
was Doctor Strange, but
Yes.
he was
Also
also
Sherlock Holmes.
Khan
Yeah,
in
that's how he
Into
started.
Darkness.
Yeah, he started as Sherlock Holmes in the UK.
He did, yes.
And then but I love how, and spoilers in case anybody hasn't seen it, Nick, you may want to
Me?
close your ears for this. But they kept it so under wraps. And if you watch the film In the Darkness, they keep it so under wraps until you kind of get a gist of what's going on. And then he goes, "My name is Noonien Singh Khan," or however, I think it's Noonien Khan Singh or something like that. And everybody was just like, "Oh, you kind of knew it," with everything that's going on. But like I said, In the Darkness to me was my favorite of the three. I would
good.
like to rank In the Darkness, then 2009, then Beyond. But then again, I'm a Libra, so I fart a different direction, and my likes go that direction. So, so that's how that goes. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing about Trek, if you allow me another soapbox moment.
Absolutely.
There's always this common war between Star Trek and Star Wars, right? There's been this thing for however long both the franchises have been around. And here's how I look at it. Star Trek was born in an era of politics. And their idea was to bring, and Gene Roddenberry wrote this in a cop car, eating a donut and coffee, and wanted to figure out how to bring the world together. So he brings in a human, an alien, African-American female, a Russian, and an Asian, and a Scotsman, and brings them all together for one purpose. And that one purpose is to unite all in harmony, whatever the case may be. And it follows that trend until you get to Deep Space Nine. Now let me splinter off into Star Wars. Star Wars turns around and says, and my thought of Star Wars is that it's religious. Because why? Because Alec Guinness says the Force is all around you and encompasses everything. So that makes it a godlike thing.
And it's everything. It's good and bad.
That's
you
correct.
know,
That's correct.
and it's all spiritual. Even
That's correct.
As
That's correct. Yes.
But even you talk, Lucas comes out and he said the reason why so many of these creatures appeal to children is he never expected it to be popular with adults.
Yeah. And that's exactly what it is. And Star Trek gets into religion in Deep Space Nine, where they talk because you're fighting for a planet and it's religious freedom from the Federation. Where I like Star Trek is where it's going now. You look at a series like Star Trek Picard, or you look at a series like Discovery, but more or less like Star Trek Picard, because Star Trek is always boasted, for lack of a better term, about a utopian future. Everybody gets together. Well, what happens when you have a dystopian future? What happens when things don't go the way it's planned?
Mhm.
And that's where Picard comes in. And if you watch, this is why I tell you, you watch the series and you watch each series, the newer series will make sense because they'll have callbacks or they'll have reminiscence of, and you'll understand why. Like Picard picks up right after 2009, Star Trek 2009, which is when Spock blows up Romulus. That's where Picard picks up.
So I'm gonna ask this question
Sure.
because I also love Big Bang.
Oh, yeah.
So Picard
Mhm.
or Kirk?
They each have their own quirks. And that's a question that's everybody has a fandom that'll tell you, Mickey or Minnie or Goofy, or Sheldon, Leonard, and Raj,
I'm gonna put you in charge of Starfleet. Who's your captain?
Who am I going with? There is the brashness of Kirk. There is the risk is our business, Kirk, which I like. There's the it's my fault, standing up for his own mistakes, right? And gets demoted to captain, and for whatever have you. Hello, Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, the one with the whales. And then there's Picard.
I did enjoy the whales.
Yeah, I love that movie. I just love that movie.
Idea.
I know. Again, Nick, you're gonna have to watch them.
Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, it had whales.
Can I just watch that instead of a whole series of Star
No,
Trek?
you have to watch the whole series.
The whole series.
You keep talking, and I'm gonna have you watch 800 hours plus.
I'm always about a challenge, things that you don't know about me. Like if you would have said the whole thing, I'd be like, nah, fuck that. But like you say one series, I will probably watch the George Takei one.
George Takei.
That's what I said.
Like,
you know what?
That is the original
ways.
ones. That's only what you said.
50
episodes or whatever.
50 episodes.
I do love
Jeez.
George Takei.
I would start it. You want to start it right. I start it chronological within the Star Trek timeline. I would start it with Enterprise first. I would start it with Enterprise first. Chronologically, Star Trek Enterprise.
And you said it's on streaming.
That's got
It is. It's on Paramount. It can be. I can look and see if it's on Prime or whatnot.
We'll figure it out. But
Scott Bakula?
Yeah, fucking.
He was on
best fucking.
He was on Quantum Leap.
Yeah,
and he was also in one of the top 5 football movies of all time.
Necessary Roughness.
Necessary Roughness.
Mm-hmm.
They had the hottest kicker ever.
All right.
You know who was the hottest kicker ever?
Kathy Ireland.
Swing.
Yeah, no, but I'm getting back to your question, Dave. I would probably pick Kirk. It's not because I don't like Picard. Yeah, it's not because I don't like Picard. I think Picard has a lot of good to him, but I think Kirk in the movies and in the TV series, you see him evolve, and from what he's evolved to, I kind of like how he became.
What are the humans called?
Humans.
And the other ones are Klingons.
Well, there's Klingons, there's Romulans.
Vulcans.
There's so many different
Basically,
things.
unlike Star Wars, where there's all these people from all these different planets that all look human, the humans are actually from Earth.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So this is what I'm saying.
Also,
Nick.
Terrence.
You
Right.
are coming in and being christened in, not knowing jack crap about Star Trek. So this is going to be all brand new to you.
Yeah.
And you are going to have questions. And you're going to be like, what? Huh? What are you talking about?
You better give me your phone number because I'm going to text you because I'm going to get real pissy. If I
Wait
get
till they
addicted
talk-
to this,
Wait till they talk about the Kobayashi Brew.
Yeah.
Kobayashi. No.
Kobayashi Maru.
No.
No,
No.
not
See, that's
Not that.
Wait, so like when you guys say Kobayashi,
I think of
you guys-
Kobayashi as
not food.
Kaiser Sose's lawyer.
Yeah.
Oh.
So basically the Kobayashi Maru is an unbeatable scenario.
So all right, besides
Kirk beat it.
besides you coming onto our thing at once a month and us being able to hang out,
Right.
I mean, what is this challenge worth to me?
Chris coming on
Knowledge.
our podcast.
Education.
Knowledge.
And education, because I'll tell you what, it's think of this as your entrance into a fandom that is unexplainable to someone who doesn't know anything about Trek.
Well,
This is exactly what it is.
is it?
So,
All right, I'm
Yeah.
gonna give it the old college try.
Okay.
Okay.
Because for me,
So
it's
you
like
said the first
I've
couple
watched
episodes?
most of the Star Wars series.
Mhm.
I've started recently the Andor one.
Mhm.
That one I waited a little while on just because I still haven't seen Rogue One all the way through, so I don't have that connection to that character.
Rogue One is so fucking good.
Rogue One is the
Star
best.
Trek or Star Wars?
Star Wars. It's the
One.
best Disney movie.
Rogue One is the best Star Wars prequel.
Yep.
Known to man. I
Prequel
will
to
say
what?
that first.
So Rogue One was a prequel to 4.
Like I said, I like.
You don't know. Fuck you.
Okay, Nick,
I wasn't
okay.
sure about, but I watched it because there's a lot of hype.
Wait,
about
four.
it. I liked
Wait,
that.
four.
4 was the one
Four
that
was
came
the
out in
original thing.
77. Yeah.
Obi-Wan, I was interested in because it tells a little bit of the story
Mm-hmm.
between.
Obi-Wan was great.
Yeah,
Obi-Wan was awesome. I
And-
love that series.
Boba
I
Fett.
do
I like.
too.
Like I said, I like you. I thought
Can I
Boba
have a
Fett was
different
good
challenge?
what
Yeah.
they did.
Yeah.
I know there are a lot
I-
of people who wanted Boba Fett to go back to being this, awesome bounty hunter again, but I liked it.
I loved Book of Boba.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm in the minority there. Everybody's like, "Oh my god, it sucked." I fucking
I'm like
loved
you.
it.
I thought. I think maybe it's for you and I. It's seeing kind of how the Tuscans lived.
Well, and you and I are old fucks. Chris is not as old as us, but we'll say he's kind of an old fuck. I went
I
from
feel like it.
1983
83. That was a
to
great year.
1999 with no fucking Star Wars.
Really?
So I'm happy with bad Star Wars at this fucking point. Not,
No, I'll tell you the truth.
I'm
You
gonna
know,
say not bad.
Other than the really crappy re-releases of the
Well,
original movies.
I'm okay. I'm okay
yeah.
with that. Even I'm not good with like the holiday special, but anything else, I'm happy with.
I was going to mention the holiday special.
I'm
There
sure
was that
you
one
were.
year.
Well, unfortunately, that was luckily between a couple of the other movies. So that was in like an after 19.
That was like 1979 or something.
All right,
that was
well,
because that was before.
Yeah,
All
so-
right, boys.
That was
Let's get
before
on.
Empire.
Let's get on. Let's
Just
go on.
watching stuff of the geek talk. Hang on.
It's not geek talk.
No, hang on.
Things.
You went to Comic Con.
Right, that's what I was gonna get on to. Yeah.
Well, let's go to Comic Con for a minute. So, Chris, Nick went
Yeah.
to Comic Con in Grand Rapids, which
Okay.
we have a decent little Comic Con here,
All right.
and he had a blast.
I always have a blast.
What did you like about it?
I love dice.
Okay. What else?
There's always so many dice that I can buy. There's a lady that makes her own dice bags and like stuff like that.
You got captured a lot.
Dude, we freaking love my daughter. Again, 7 years old, is not a nerd. in
She
any
was
way,
so pissed off at you for getting caught because you were looking at shit.
She was right. So the non-501st, the bounty hunters.
It was the Mandalorian marks.
Yes, those people who are bounty hunters.
Because Mike and I are 501st.
Right. Yeah. So it was the bad guys. Or no, so
No, they're
bounty
bounty
hunters.
hunters. They're not necessarily bad.
So you go and you donate money to their cause, and then they will give you a lanyard and stuff, and then they will hunt you throughout the entire building.
Mind you, the cause is Make-A-Wish.
Yeah. So, and well, is it every year the same one?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. So,
We do a lot of Make-A-Wish stuff.
which is you guys do. It's great. And like as much as I don't like, I'll go find clearance stuff and I'll buy it for you guys, and you guys will take it. But
If you want to NCS, we're doing the basketball game on the 8th.
yeah, man. Like, I mean, the 8th, I'll take a look at my calendar.
Did
It's a
anybody
Sunday.
sign up
So-
for K-Wings night tomorrow?
There's like 8 or 9 people.
Okay.
So I will say, like, I like seeing costumes. I like seeing people. I mean, there was a guy dressed up as John Wick there.
At the Comic-Con.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
walking around, and I was like, that's cool. So one of the days I get there, so I went 2 days. It was really fun. I felt bad bringing my wife on a Sunday.
I saw you both. No, I saw you. No, you went 3 days.
Did I really go 3 days?
You did, because you were there on Friday.
Was I really?
I saw you on Friday and Saturday.
No, I think you just see me on Saturday.
I thought I
Yeah,
saw
just
you both.
no, just
Okay,
So
either way.
because and so we go and we get captured, so we play hide and seek, right? And so you look around and you see, and you book it to the next spot, and it's really, really fun. We did it 4 or 5 times, right? Like, and then I enjoy seeing people have a good time, right? Which is fun to me.
We have a great time.
So one of my favorite things that was there, right, was the and they're not even Comic-Con people. I don't know how, but like the dueling harpist, right? There was these twin girls,
The harp twins.
the harp twins,
They're
right?
great.
And they're amazing, right? Like, and so they put on a free concert, and we went and seen that. My wife thought it was awesome. My daughter thought it was great. I bought a few Christmas presents for my brother. My brother he's really into, help me out, Asian
Anime.
Thank you.
I know, because I brought it up here.
Which is still, so remember how I don't have your gift to you yet?
Yeah, right.
My brother's gift is still sitting in my box right
Dude,
next to
you
yours.
suck.
Yes, and then my niece actually has something there as well. So Christmas, everybody got stuff, except for you, because fuck you. But
I'm okay with that.
so I will get you yours though.
That's okay. I'm around.
Yeah, and
You see me like every fucking week as we podcast.
hopefully, but so Comic-Con to me, and there's some stuff like, so the guy, it was the Red Ranger this year.
Austin St. John.
Yeah, so
I don't know how the fuck
Original.
I know that, because I did not watch Power
the
Rangers.
fucking parties is like I like the original Power Rangers was great. Everything after that just was really
I know
stupid.
nothing about Power Rangers, but I know Jason David Frank.
Dun, 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 dun.
Awesome.
That's in my head. Okay, that's in my head.
I'm talking.
No, I'm talking.
Shut up.
You don't know anything about this. You said your nerd
No,
moments.
hang on.
The only thing worth knowing about the Power Rangers was the cute one.
Yeah, the pink one.
Yeah, that was Amy.
Everybody's favorite crush.
Jason David Frank. He just killed himself.
Yeah, I'll say
That's awful. He was great at every Comic-Con, I swear. I went to probably 10 Comic-Cons that he was at,
yeah.
and he was phenomenal every fucking time.
Probably gets depressing when you get to the point where that's your source of income. And that's
I'm
like
not-
the only thing he's really known for.
I'm not sure it was that. I think it's just, life sucks.
Yeah.
And eventually
you-
you're just
but-
like, fuck it. I don't want to do this anymore.
But you know what though? I think really it is, and that's been the talk since he died. It's been the talk of if you need help, reach out.
Yeah.
And some people hide behind that,
Their
and
suits.
there are some people that hide behind that, and it's hard to detect because you've
Yeah.
known this personality for so long, and he's always
it happens
hyper
every
or-
time a celebrity. I mean, it was huge when Robin Williams, after he killed him.
Yeah,
That was like
but
a guy who people just saw as the epitome of
Oh, funny.
happiness and humor.
Well, I mean, even with normal fucking people, I remember, when I got sick last year, I remember sending him a message going, if this is the best my brain ever gets, I wish I would have just died then. And Nick's like, yeah, but you don't want to be dead. No, I don't want to be dead.
Yeah. No.
But if this is the best my brain is ever going to
Yeah.
get, I don't want to do this shit anymore.
It was like my dad when he was really, really depressed.
Right.
After everything. He was never like, we had to put him in the hospital because there was that point where self-harm could have been an option. But early on, it was like, why didn't cancer kill me when I had it if this is what the rest of my life is going to be like?
Right.
And that's something, that a lot of people face, especially as they get older. One of the things to circle back, I'm sorry, but to circle
go ahead.
back to circle back to like management and life, one of the things I tell my guys that get on the job, they're 23, 24. And the first thing I tell them is, within 6 months of the job, you're going to sign up for your benefits. The first thing you do is get your 401k signed up and get it situated. And every year you're going to look at that and not touch it. And every year you're going to put 1% into it. And you're not even going to notice it. Because I'll tell you the truth right now, in order to retire from anything, you need a 5-year plan prior to your retirement. So if you're planning to retire at 63, you need to start planning at 58. Or at least have some sort of idea before you're 58, and you make that plan. Otherwise, you're going to end up wondering, where is my money and how am I going to spend my money? Now, on top of that, in Vegas, in the hotels, okay, they don't have a mandatory age limit. Yeah. And, and I have guys that work under me. I see guys that work in the casino, other parts of the casino, that are over the age of 65.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why they do is some of them are afraid, because once they retire, they will not know what to do. Because they're so used to getting up, as Nick had said earlier in the show, getting away from their wives for 8 to 10 hours and then coming home and having that me time to themselves. Now, they're going to be home 24 hours a day, twiddling their thumbs, going, what am I going to do? And there's some, and this actually happened to me with a guy on a job, that's all he had was the job. The guy never missed a day of work. He went 14 years, perfect attendance. 14 years. Never missed a day unless he had to. But, never had a fuck it day. We all have those, right? Case of the fuck it's.
Sure do.
Never had those. 14 years on the job. He ends up leaving the job. Within 6 months to a year, he falls off and he dies. Because, and the last thing I heard about this guy was the job was all he had.
Yeah.
Because the home life was not what it was. And I think that's where, and I'll tie this in with JDF, I think that's where that is. I think that's where it is because he is so prominent and so into the fandom and so into the crowd and so into the fans that he wanted, I personally believe he wanted that to continue because of the problems at home. Unfortunately, you can't have that, right? You can't have that. You have to have that balance going into, don't bring home life into work. Don't bring work life at home. They got to struggle to find that balance to leave one subject there. And when you come home, that's your home life. And I think that's where the struggle is in most cases. And that's where the depression sets. And that's where no one knows what I'm going through. And that's where no one knows, I'm a celebrity at home, but and I use this term loosely, but I'm a piece of shit. Or I'm a celebrity out front, but I'm a piece of shit at home.
Yep. I would agree with that because I think we've seen that with Stan Lee. I mean, he stayed on the concert probably longer than he should have. He would have turned 100 yesterday.
Wow, was it yesterday?
It was yesterday, yeah.
Well, Nichelle Nichols had a birthday this week too.
Yeah.
And she just recently died.
She did.
She would have been 100.
I think, because we love baseball.
We do.
Ernie Banks, another one.
Oh, man.
Mr.
Wow.
Cub, he lived for meeting the fans because at home he didn't have much.
Right.
And I think that's a lot of celebrities out there. They live for their fans because that's where they feel the love.
100%.
And I mean, I know, like when I met Carrie Fisher, I got to meet her a couple times. Just a beautiful soul. But I mean, I knew when I met her, she was totally fucked up.
Yep.
I knew she was a drug addict and that, her life was not sunshines and rainbows. But I didn't give a shit because as far as I was concerned, she was my princess.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, that's, and you find that. So Chris, we do probably 4 episodes a year
At least.
about mental health and suicide prevention and things like that. It's very important to us.
We just did one like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. But I will say it's tough, right? Like I'm not in the same boat, but I walk into a real estate meetup and I'm somebody.
Yeah.
I walk home to my wife and I'm just the guy that brings home a paycheck.
Yep.
Right. And it's not a paycheck. It's not guaranteed. You know what I'm saying? Like these people, they want to talk to me. They want my interest. They want everything. And my wife goes, what do you want for dinner? And how do you want me to pack your bag? It's a completely different life. It's, here, everybody looks up to me and wow, your knowledge and your wisdom is great. And this lady thinks I'm the dumbest person because I don't know the difference between Advil and Tylenol. Right. Like it's not but so it's completely different. And then, today is somewhat of an example, right? So, I'm on my phone, I'm talking, it's 10 o'clock, and I'm talking to somebody and I'm doing something else. And as I'm talking to them, my wife's trying to tell me she's going to go to the store and she's going to take the kid. And, all of a sudden it hit me. I was like, oh, so I stopped and I called her and I was like, hey, I need to let you know what I'm doing. Like between the hours of 10 and 2, which is when I'm devoting myself, like I will be doing business. Okay. It's not that you're not my priority. You're supposed to be gone. You're supposed to be working. If you want to do lunch, schedule it in a sense of things.
Yeah.
But really, like I am focused on my business. I want to devote myself to my business. I want to be in my business. I want to talk real estate. I want to find real estate. I want to do this. This is where I'm doing my life. And I need to let you know because there's going to be these times where you're going to be annoyed because you think I'm not doing anything except for talking to my friends. Well, no, like in theory, I was trying to push a 5 unit to try to make a couple $100 or whatever it would be. Like I'm trying to do this type of a thing. Like
you might be talking to your friends, but you're talking to your friends about business.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. And it's strictly like, I am here for this because that's what I find. Like, that's what I see as what what I'm focused on. Right. Mm-hmm. And then I'm trying to be, because I also know that I drop my daughter off at 8 a.m. in the morning and pick her up at 3 o'clock. So I want the downtime after, the downtime before picking her up. I want to be in dad mode. I want to be very focused on my family during this time. Right. I need 4 hours a day to really focus on making sure that my family, or what I see is giving back to my family. So,
Mike, what's your thought on the balance between work and home? And then what we're talking about now, which is the onset of depression.
I mean, I'm in a little odd, different place. I mean, I'm divorced, so I get my kids basically half the time. I mean, at this point, it's give or take a day either way. But basically, over the course of the year, it's probably, pretty much half the time. So when I don't have my kids, I do a lot more work. But I think it's a lot of that stuff. It's to keep myself busy. I mean, I've got plenty of people I can hang out with, usually call Dave on the way home from work or whatever, just to say hi and things like that. And so when I have my kids, it's a flip. And I mean, I think Dad to Nick, he talks about feeling, like just an average person once he's home. But I mean, you've got a kid that looks up to you. Mm-hmm. That's still somebody who can, like, I saw some of the things you posted today about, like, was helping you with some stuff, around a house. And I mean, it's like, those are the kind of things you can show your kid that makes being at home important.
I am Superman. I mean, there's days, right, where I'm the biggest piece of shit to my daughter, but also I am Superman to my daughter.
Yeah.
And, but being a father, Chris, I'm not sure. I'm sorry. Do you have kids?
No, I don't.
Okay. But like, there's Mike, you get it at times, right? Where it's, I mean, you know,
I get it a little less just because I have teenagers.
you could tell your kid, hey, you can't have hot chocolate right now because we need to be healthy, and like you're the biggest piece of shit in the world. But then like the moment you give her hot chocolate, it makes you feel like on cloud nine because you just spoiled her. So don't get me wrong, like I know that the examples I set, and I'm very stringent on that, where I make sure that my daughter knows what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, where I want to be. And I build her up to a very big life of know your worth, right? Because I struggled with that for a while, for a long time, of not knowing my actual worth and feeling different things. So you know, sure, am I too much on her sometimes? Sometimes I'm not afraid to admit that, but like, you know, I'm really trying to focus on sorry guys, we have a huge break, but
You want sushi?
No, you, not
Yeah.
David doesn't like sushi.
I hate it.
is it seafood? Oh, maybe. Sorry, I'm being asked if I want sushi because I do love sushi.
I do not.
Who doesn't like this type of a break? So
Me.
but you know, I so right, and we all go through those times, but
Yeah.
you know, today, right, I my daughter said something. Thank you. My daughter said something, and I was like, man, I just want to hug her, right? And that's the biggest key is, you know, physical attention is huge for me. So right, I will hug my wife, I will kiss my wife, I will hug my kid,
Yep.
you know, and I'll go home tonight and good night, I love you, and I'll make sure she's in bed. And
I hug everybody.
you do,
Even people that don't fucking like it, like Mike.
Mike
I
loves
really
it.
don't.
But see,
I'm
Mike,
not
but see,
a
Mike, I
touchy
think
feely
you
person.
have it. But
Mike
see,
is
Mike,
not a
I think
hugger.
you have it. I think you have it rougher being a divorced
It
parent.
is. It's hard.
And on top of that, teenagers, that you have only a certain amount of time to be that parent, to divide your time that way, whereas Nick has 5-7 days a week and can literally balance his work week that way, and you again,
And it is,
know.
like you said, it's a different situation. And like I said, it was hard for the first couple of years. It was really, really difficult. And, you know, Dave and I had, you know, kind of fallen out of contact for almost 15 years.
Yeah, about 15 years.
Damn.
And basically it was when I was starting to go through my divorce that I reached out. And like I said, if they hadn't been willing to let me back in, I mean, I don't know where I'd be right now. I really, really don't, because I needed that, you know, friendship that's completely outside of family and work and everything.
Yeah,
You know-
and it's just what it is. It's
Yeah.
finding that balance. In the end, it's finding that balance and finding
But
the
it makes
support
me,
group.
some of the things you've said kind of make me think, like, you know, I'm one, like you talked about retirement, and I'm like, I'm not talking about 5. I mean, I'm thinking about, I would like to semi-retire in about 10,
Mhm.
and then fully retire in about 15.
Well, guys like you that are 29 would think that way. That's okay.
Yeah.
No, but like, and that, but Chris, like, I would love to have a full, I mean, just you and me conversation, but like really, like
Everybody out.
no, like,
The
because like,
doctor is in.
I love the way, and the more I drink, the better it's gonna get. So the way you think,
That's what she said.
that's a fact. You know, the way you think, the way you present yourself is just,
Yeah.
you're an awesome person. I'm so glad that we met on the cruise. Like,
Thank you very
Because-
much. Same here.
really, like, I'm all about building the people up, right? So, I mean, as much as it's, so I got into a competition with a guy when I used to work, about who could put more money into their 401k into the year, right? Granted, we both maxed our shit out, and for that time we were both better. And he came to me one day and he's like, "Hey, I got to lower my stuff. I got some things coming up," and I was like, "Dude, that's no big deal." Like, and he's like, "But really, my 401k looks so much better." And so we would do competitions about who could just do it. You know, my wife, you know, we were at a point of, you know, we didn't have money in a sense, like we still don't, like, you know, but And she's like, 10% into my 401. I don't know, babe. And I was like, look, if you ever need $1, like, I'll make sure it happens, but make sure that even if we divorce, you're set for yourself. And she's like, okay. And I was like, I'm not planning divorce, but like, think about yourself. Think about your futures. Think about what you want. And she's like, all right, because I want to build her up. Like, I want her to see this. And I want my daughter to follow in the same steps. And if my wife doesn't do it, and I don't do it, then my daughter's definitely not going to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well,
so like,
this right, because you had said earlier, and I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
mid
please.
thought, but you had said it earlier. You are an asshole, but
Fact.
you're both their assholes, right?
That's
So,
Yeah. Totally
but-
your asshole.
yep.
no, but it's true because you're setting an example for two people in your household.
Yep.
And one of the things, like I had said, like I told my guys, listen, that's the first thing you got to do. Your benefits to make sure you get all the things you need and your 401k.
Yep.
And that's the main thing right there, because in the end, this being our job, my job, being a private job and not sitting in state, I don't have a pension.
Sure.
In other words, I'm here 24 years. Next year would make 25. Guess what? I can retire and get retirement money for a
Yep.
pension job, right? Nowadays, the jobs offer 401k because it pays more.
Yep.
And the thing about it with the 401k, and this is what I'll tell, I don't know your audience if they're into money or whatnot, but
I would
you know,
hope.
I would hope.
Right?
I would say, I
Hopefully
would
they're
say
into
this.
money or beer.
Yeah.
One of the two.
I would say this for those that are listening, those that are starting out on a new job, whether you're 20, 30, 40 or whatnot, what I would say is this. I would say, one, do your research. Two, make sure you're doing, for me, it worked, but make sure you're doing 33 1/3 in each bracket, your low, your medium, your high. That's your best return of investment right there. And then every year, like I said earlier, put 1% away. You're not going to miss a nickel. Two, 3 or 4, even, it's a write-off in the end. You put in $5,000-$6,000.
Listen to this guy.
You put in $5,000-$6,000 in your 401k. That's tax-free money, right?
So well, depending.
Till you start.
Till you take it out.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
till you take it out. But you putting it in
Yes.
tax-free.
But now if
You
we talk
take it
about
out before if you take it out before you're 59 and a half, you have to pay the taxes on it. Anything
well, you
after
pay taxes
59
on it. So there's a difference between Roth and traditional
There is.
401. So traditional 401k, you're paying taxes on it as you're taking it out, even after you retire. Now,
Yeah, Roth, you don't have to pay taxes on it because you're not investing it until after you pay taxes on it anyway.
Well, Roth, you're paying taxes and then you're putting after tax dollars into place.
Correct.
It's after
Correct.
tax.
So, and that's meant for other people. But
Right.
what I will say is, okay, so you're on the right track and you're teaching these guys, hey, 1%, 1%. And
Mhm.
what's this year? This year went up quite a bit. And I don't quote me, 17,500, let's just call it
What?
401k contribution max.
Yeah, something like that.
Right. And so don't quote us on it because we don't know these things off the top of our head. But once you max that out, right? So you're doing very well. You're up in the 25% of, you're making 60,000, you're putting 25% away. We talk about open IRAs, right? You and I are very, and then if you have dependents, kids and stuff like that, like put it in there. So like I pay my wife, I pay my kid, people like, and I post pictures on Facebook to prove to the IRS that my daughter works.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, because nobody can say that my daughter doesn't do anything to earn her $100. Like I'm not afraid to admit I write off because my daughter, I'll take a picture of her and people are like, why are you making her pick up trash? I'm not making her do shit. She wants a fucking Polly Pocket. She's going to earn that Polly Pocket, right? Sure.
It's
Do I
called
own-
it's called learning the way, learning the job, learning life.
Exactly.
And
Do I-
and it's something, I'm sorry, Nick, but
No,
it's
you're fine.
something that some people, I don't know about all, but we'll say some, don't understand.
Yep.
Because it's almost like disciplining your child
Yep.
outside in public, and they'll turn around and tell you you're a bad parent. First of all, one, don't tell me how I freaking discipline my kids because I'll smack you just as I'll freaking smack them.
Fact.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But this is where, and this is my own personal opinion, but this is where society tries to get the upper hand and tries to say, you know what? oh, Nick's treating his daughter like a slave. She's 7 years old, getting $100. You know, she should be working on her schoolwork. Well, maybe she does. And because she works on her schoolwork and gets 5 A's a freaking semester, this is my gift to her, is learning the job, learning the way of life, how to earn your money and how to save it. You don't like it, you don't get off my page, get off my FYP, whatever the hell the kids do nowadays. And you know what? Peace out, see you later. But this is how I am going to teach the kids, my kids, and my daughter's going to teach her kids how to earn a buck.
Yep. And I'll tell you, I had the proudest moment. I need to brag because I am a fucking bragger. All right. So my daughter got Christmas money. She's had money saved up, blah, blah. And my wife had my back on a little bit, and she said, hey, you know, she goes, all right, hey, you have this money. And my daughter looks at me, she had $40 from somebody for Christmas, and she goes, well, so then she had a $25 gift card.
Mhm.
And I bought it off of her because it was for Meyer.
Okay.
American Girl doll stuff is from Target that she wanted. So I bought the $25 off from her.
Yep.
Pay her full price. So she has $65, right? And she goes, yep, Dad, I'd like to take $10 of that and put it into my savings, my piggy bank.
Smart girl.
And dude, you should have seen the grin from ear to ear. You should have seen. And I said, you know, I'm trying to make change. And I was like, nope, hold on. We went into my bedroom and I had $10 worth of $50 bills,
Mhm.
you know, or $50 coins. I was like, look, here you have this. I give you 20, I give you 25, actually I give you 15, right? And I was like, but the other 10 is here, and we're gonna put this straight into the piggy bank.
Mhm.
And so she took money and she put it into her piggy bank as savings. And dude, like I'm grinning from ear to ear. And so we go to the store, and so actually we cheated the system. So here's another fun tip. So she picks out, I don't even know, but anyway, I think it was $56 and something cents worth of stuff. And my wife had a $3.12 savings from Target, whatever it could have been. Anyway, so we ended up paying $53 and something cents, and my daughter tried to keep the $2, and I was like, well, we did use mom's money and you overspent, but I'm gonna keep the $2. We're not. You've officially spent your 55 that you had to spend.
Mhm.
And we're both gonna be happy. She's like, yeah. And I was like, Mom got the shaft in that one. I was like, we're gonna call that the government. And she's like, what? And I was like, yeah, the government taxed your ass. And so, but right, like it literally, like it was like $56.12. So she did overspend her 55, but we had the discount of $3 from the red card event, and it was awesome. It was a really great thing because my daughter's like, I'm going to invest this. And dude, her piggy bank, I'm so excited to open it because now so for a long time, she didn't want to go to the bank. She doesn't want to put her money into the bank. She doesn't want to do this.
Okay.
But now she wants to, right? Now she's getting to the point where she's like, yeah, let's do this into an account. And I'm like, so we've missed 7 years of interest. I don't give two shits. Like, I'll pay it.
She's figuring it out.
She is, man, because every time we do something and we're going on vacation and she's like, oh, hey, I want this. And I was like, you could do this if you invest your money and earn interest on it. You could go on your own vacation. And she's like, and we've done this for 2 years now because we're going back to Florida. Chris, sorry, we're not going to Orlando. We're going to Orlando, but we're not going to Disney. But so she's finally getting it where she's like, wait, all I have to do is just fucking have money sit around and it'll make money. She's starting to comprehend making money. And I'm super excited. $10. She took 25% of what she had for the 40 and she invested it. And I was super excited about it. Like, proudest, dude. This is why we do this. This is what it's about. Weird as shit.
Let's put this in our terms for a minute.
Yeah.
Of the four of us here, how many of us remember put a penny a day, right? Put a penny the first day, then put 2 pennies, then put 4 pennies, then put 8. Keep doubling it for 365 days. Out of the four of us here, who actually did it?
No, I mean, none of
I
us.
would have had enough money by the end.
But I'll tell you, didn't it turn around, looking back at it now, don't you turn around and go, damn, I wish I did?
Yeah,
because
you don't
and
realize
it's such a
once you
lesson
doubled
to
it
learn.
that many times. Just how
Right, but it's such a lesson to learn, though, isn't
It's
it?
for 30 days, right? So if you
No, not for 30.
yes,
No,
look it up.
it's $5 now for a year. You put $5 in the first month, you put $10 in the second month, you put $15 in the third month. Yeah. So it's changed.
No, he's talking a penny
I
a day for
understand
30
that.
days equals like 1 point some, or no, sorry, because day
It's the
30 and day
same
31.
thing.
No, day 30 and
Well,
31.
you're already
equals
really
billions.
high at that point.
Right.
Like they're
But
talking about like when, there's the old legend that the guy who created the chessboard basically said, you're going to pay me with like, 1 coin on, and it was basically doubling on each square, and it like ends up being $1 trillion or something like that is what it ends up amounting to.
well, even if we didn't do it for a year, right? Let's say we did it for 6 months. Let's say we did it for 3. Looking back on it now, don't you wish we would have done it? Don't you think at some point, and Nick, maybe you haven't come into the money thing until the end, but I know for me, I didn't come into it till the end. But looking back at it and spending foolishly as I have, but looking back on it now, I really wish I did. Just even if it was 6 months, right? Try it out every year, whatever have you. Have that willpower to do it and try it out for 6 months, and then try to continue on to see where it went.
Sure.
But I really do applaud you, Nick. You're a man amongst men to teach your daughter the meaning of money and the meaning of what a dollar is worth and how to save.
Thank you.
And,
Thank
and
you.
Really,
It
honestly,
means a lot.
I really hope listeners, if you're listening and you've been listening, whether you're listening to this show for however long they've been on, or this is your first time like me, these gentlemen are impressive. They have a lot of knowledge, and I really hope you guys stick around and stick with them and listen
Thank
to
you.
them.
That's a great endorsement.
No, so,
I think that has to be a TikTok.
so that might be a beginning.
I was gonna say, we did a Pops and Pennies the other day,
We did.
and we talked about Nike stock.
We did.
And if you had bought Nike in what was it, 1989?
The year I was born.
Okay, 1988. It was $4.
No, sorry.
I think it was 98.
No, the year. Okay, so
I think it was
the
90.
year I was born, it was like 4. But like the year I was 10, when we talked about starting this type of thing, it was 20.
No, I want to say it was still $4.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you had invested, $100 in Nike at that point,
Yeah.
Nike's running around $98.
Well, look at Microsoft. If you invested in Microsoft in the early
Amazon
80s,
thing too.
at Yahoo, right? All the
Yeah.
.coms, right? Before the .com crash. Microsoft, for example, if you put $1 in Microsoft, let's say it was $1 back then, nowadays, you'd be friggin' millionaire. On
Yeah.
top of that, if you worked for Microsoft, you automatically got stock options. Whether you were a janitor or a freaking VP
Yeah.
or CEO.
No, that's exactly it. Like if whether you were a janitor or not, they gave, and so Microsoft, okay, the only reason it looks great because they're still giving stocks away, but like because of what it turned into, right? So the janitors were making. I'm looking at buying a cabin from a friend of mine who wants to get rid of one of his 3. And the neighbor works for Microsoft.
Okay.
Right. And if you met Dennis, he looks like you and I, except for
Okay.
skinnier. He wears blue jeans and a t-shirt and lives up in Baldwin. Let's call it.
Yep.
Right.
Middle of nowhere,
Right. In the middle of nowhere. He drives a truck that's worth $1,500.
if he's lucky.
But I will tell you, if I've met, I mean, I really have shaken hands with people who have a $250 million net worth, and I know them well, but like, Dennis is probably up there in one of the highest wealth people I've ever met in my life. I should marry his daughter, but
You're already married.
yeah, I say, right. But right,
Hey, they
so-
made an HBO show of polygamy, so I'm pretty sure it's still around.
I'd say, come to find out, I'm Mormon now, and I can have multiple wives. No, but like, so it's really like the companies back then. They took care of their people. Everybody, Gentex. So as much as I dog on Gentex for the way they treated me,
Mhm.
Currently now, like their hire on bonus is they're giving you $1,000 in free stock after a year or something like that. They're also now building a, just to help themselves out because they're pieces of shit, but they're doing a daycare facility on site where you only pay partial, and they're going to pay people because they need employees.
Mhm.
But right, like, good for that company to finally start setting standards because, like, okay, so my mom worked for Steelcase, and most people don't know what Steelcase is until you sit in the chairs that we're sitting in, until you're sitting into a computer. If you know what office furniture is, there's a chance that it's from Grand Rapids. I mean,
Herman Miller
Steelcase, right? Like, these are the biggest things that you've dealt with. So if you have actual, like, not your Office Max, like, hey, I went and bought 2 tables. Like, if you've been in an office, you have Herman Miller or Steelcase.
A real office.
Correct. And but, like, man, they used to give bonuses. They used to give stock options. They used to do these things.
Well, again, the GM plan on 36th Street.
Oh, dude,
if you got in there, you were set for life.
Right. And
then
now GM's paying $17 an hour.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but I was saying so I want to get back to Comic-Con. I know we got off that a little bit.
We'll get back to that.
We got off on a tangent. That's
sorry.
That's what happens all the time.
That's very common with their podcast.
I've had an awesome time at
Before
Comic-Con.
we get there, I want to. So Mike had brought something up, and we've never talked about this on air.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this on air for a minute. So Mike and I, he was my best friend.
Still is.
He was my best friend from 95 until
Mikey officially is his best friend now, but I might be
He was my best friend from 95 till 2001.
Yeah.
And then my wife set him up with a fucking idiot.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we had, I wouldn't say a falling out. We came to a point where I looked at him and I'm like, I didn't even look at him. We were on the phone. I said, hey, when you're done being a dick, let me know. And he goes, yep, same.
Good deal.
And we didn't talk again until my aunt was dying.
Yeah.
In 2015.
Yeah.
So we went from 2001 to 2015 and didn't talk.
Still some of my favorite photos.
Oh my God, I loved. Nick went shooting with my aunt, and it was
Chris,
one of the greatest days ever.
Chris, so you're in law enforcement. You go shooting very often?
Every 6 months with the company gun.
So I own a 1911 45 cal.
Oh, I love you.
Okay.
And
So
my aunt had a 380.
Yep. And
I had a 9mm, a 22, and I don't know what the fuck else I had at that point.
yeah, but I own some shotguns and things.
We go shooting at my aunt's house. My aunt is 85 pounds at this point.
Soaking wet. Okay, 85 pounds. And I hand her my 1911. Okay.
Nick stood behind her like Johnny Bench,
Here
ready to catch her when this fucking gun knocked her on her ass.
and Dawn is taking photos. And you see, okay, so you can see my hand here. This lady's body is bent like this off of the recoil of my 45 cal. And she didn't fall over. I was so proud. She's got her little hands out here. And and the smile on her fucking face.
She was so happy.
And I said, you can unload the entire mag. I'll load it 10 more times. Because back then, I mean, ammo was it didn't matter what the price. It was $15 for 50 shots. But dude, this 85-pound lady is literally
bent over
at a 45-degree angle off of her recoil, and she gets up and she just beaming. She's like, "Oh yeah!" And I was like, "Yeah, you should try the 12-gauge shotgun."
This was like 5 months before she passed.
It was, man.
So she ends up passing away, and Mike sends me a message. He goes, I always loved Aunt Sue, and I feel really bad about what happened. Do you want to get together sometime? And I went, yeah, I'd love to. Yeah. So it was around Dawn's birthday.
Yeah.
And he came up to Grand Rapids and met me and Mikey, and we went to Hopcat. And one of us got cut off because they were so fucking drunk they couldn't walk to the bathroom.
You? A guy at a beer shop.
That happened. And I mean, it was literally like 15 years had never happened.
Yeah.
And it really was, yeah.
I'm right back.
But that's how true friendship is.
It really is.
And that's how true friendship is. Like, I got friends back in New York I haven't talked to 20-something years.
Yeah.
Some I've talked to maybe 10, 15 years ago. But if they call me and say, Chris, I'm coming to Vegas, cool. When we meeting up? And then that first
Yeah.
meetup, and true story. And we'll get back to Nick's Comic-Con experience, but true story. So I'm out here a year or two, and I end up working at a casino, whatnot. And kid I just met, became friends with, says, "Hey, my brother knows a Vinny. He came from the Bronx." I said, "All right." I says, "It's either one of two names, and tomorrow tell me the name." And he comes back and he tells me one of the names. I said, "All right, tell your brother. We're gonna meet at a bar, pool hall, whatever it was we went. We'll go out, shoot pool, whatever." I haven't seen this kid since sixth grade. Okay. And he knew that I was out here through mutual friend. So next night comes, pool hall, we're sitting there. Out of clear blue from the entrance of the doorway, "Tribuizo!" And I hear it's this kid. This kid right off the bat. Now, my mother we were in grade school. My mother used to babysit this kid while my parents would work. So he would come home with us. We would freaking sit down. And it was like we never left.
Mhm.
How are you? How's things? Blah, 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 this and that. I mean, granted, I haven't talked to him now in like maybe 4 or 5 years. But again, if he was to show up at my place, or somebody says, "Hey, Vinny says hello, let's go out to lunch," let's do it.
Yep.
And that's true friendship. There's true friendship where you have those that have your back, and there's true friendship with those that haven't been around for so long, come back and still have your back, no matter what. No matter, as I keep falling back to Nick's analogy of "I'm your asshole," but it's true.
It is.
It's true.
That's
there's those type of friendships, and those type.
He was
of
talking
friendships are
about
the
a
ones I
Vinny
live
from
by.
New York. Dave, what was the first name that popped into your head?
Vinny Gababino.
No, I was thinking Vinny Barbarino.
Yeah.
Oh, Vinny Barbarino.
Let's say,
Yeah.
it's not possible. The motor on that didn't come out. So I
got two Vinnies. I got Vinny Barbarino and I got my cousin Vinny.
my cousin Vinny.
Yeah.
Say
Vinny Barbarino, though, honestly. So, Chris, how old are you?
47.
So
Just turned 47. Which
really younger
is a
than
Star
me,
Trek
older
number,
than you,
so.
though.
yeah.
No, but I am an old soul, guys. Let me tell you something.
Same.
I grew up in the womb listening to the 50s and the 60s music. So doo-wop is my thing. Motown is my thing. So I know about the old stuff. I know all about the old movies, The Searchers, things of that nature, movies along those lines. So I know my music, you talk about Vinny Barbarino. I know my TV shows too. The original Spider-Man with Peter, the Australian guy.
Yeah.
we know that he
him.
knows his music because he gets on stage the last night of the cruise and he sings Frank fucking Sinatra. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're a New York guy, you sing Frank Sinatra. I'm sorry.
And the worst part is like I don't want to be friends with Chris, but I feel like we could be best friends.
So I introduced Mike to Welcome Back, Cotter.
Yes.
And we would literally
we would tape it.
The end of 1995, it was on Nick at Night all Friday night.
Oh,
Yep.
jeez.
Yes,
So I would tape
we would-
6 fucking hours, and the next
Yeah.
day we would sit there and watch it.
Yeah.
And then usually while it was taping, we'd go to someplace like the strip club.
Right.
Actually, it
Yeah.
was making me when he was talking about like the guy who was working for never called in for 14 years
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then died within a year or so.
Mhm.
I thought maybe that's the reason why those guys go to the strip club is there's nothing left for them at home, and that's
They need
their
something
escape
to do.
Well,
to
they what really hurts is you watch a movie like Leaving Las Vegas with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
And he leaves his job, leaves his family, goes to Las Vegas, gets drunk for 30 days, falls in love with Elizabeth Shue, but then again, who doesn't fall in love with Elizabeth Shue and Cobra Kai, Karate Kid, Adventures of Babysitting? I'm looking at you guys. But
Nick knows what none of
then-
that is.
The Karate Kid and Cobra Kai.
Adventures in Babysitting.
I haven't seen that,
Yeah, it's so
but I've seen
Great
Karate
movie.
Kid and Cobra Kai. So
I mean,
and she was, she went to the present or to the future,
Yeah, she did.
hung
She
out
was in the
there.
boys. She was in the boys too. But
She-
you know, it's one of those things where, you know, that movie Leaving Las Vegas really puts depression and really puts alcoholism and what the two really shouldn't be doing in the brain, really puts it in the forefront. And it really wrecks a person. And you know, I hate the fact that we keep coming back to the subject, only because it's not a happy one, like we've been talking for the last hour and a half. It's
Just
just
guys keep a
it's
track
so,
of time.
it's just so, you know, prevalent now. And I
Very
think
much.
COVID may have had a hand in it.
And I think COVID
Um,
really had a bigger impact on especially our generation.
Yeah.
Like
I
outside-
wouldn't-
like,
I
what
wouldn't
about all these
agree with
kids
you.
that are dealing with it, but I think of the kids. I mean, even before COVID, they were spending a lot of their time on the
See-
computer. You know,
Well, see, here's the
playing.
thing. I think COVID had more of an impact on the extroverts than the introverts.
Mhm.
And it's because
Yes, yeah,
the extroverts are the ones that go out there and make friends, go out there and need that conversation.
That's
Whereas
exactly
the introverts and the introverts are the ones that will much rather text you by phone every 3 days to see how you're doing. Like for me, you know, like for me, it hurt me.
Oh,
And
100%.
you guys
For a
know
lot of
how I
people,
am.
like, you know,
Oh.
who don't have kids, like
It
ask
hurt
me,
me.
how are your kids doing with like this
Mhm.
virtual school? I'm like, I mean,
They're fine.
They're fine. Yeah,
That's-
no big deal.
That's, you know,
And I
like,
think really,
again, my kids' age, you know, even before
Yeah.
that, they were like getting on computers and playing games with their headphones on and talking to their friends in other parts of the country. And
but it's,
I did my
it's-
homework on DOS. I did my
Yeah.
homework on a TI doing DOS. 10
Yep.
print, my name is 20 print Chris Tribuizo, 30 run. And that's how I did my homework.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what
Yep.
my parents did. That's how my parents cemented it.
Yep.
And I get it now. The kids don't know. We actually talked about this on an episode of Mickey's Marvels. Kids don't know anything about what, if I mention the word Compton outside of the city of California, no one knows what it is. If
they're-
I mention the word Britannica,
Yeah.
no one knows. If I say Encarta 98, nobody knows. None of the kids know what they are missing out on. Whereas we as kids went outside and played.
oh,
These kids
That's-
sit on a computer, and that makes and society makes them a lot more
it
introverted.
was literally like, from like dusk till dawn,
Mhm.
as long as, you know, you came in for lunch.
You can't
or
say dawn.
whatever.
you can't
What?
say dawn. Maybe you were different, but I tell you what, mine wasn't dawn. Mine was when the streetlights got home.
Yeah.
Once the streetlights came on, you had X amount of minutes to get home. Otherwise, your ass.
That's what I
got
said. I meant dawn to dusk, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
say,
right.
but or sorry, dusk. But you're like, dusk. You can't say dusk
Right.
because it was we live by the streetlights. Now I live
Mhm.
in Jennison, which is no streetlights anywhere. But
Well,
like,
I
You
live
gotta-
by streetlights. I live by streetlights and a whistle.
right?
So,
like, no, your
that's
mom, your
what it
mom
was.
did the two
yeah.
fingers too.
Oh yeah.
Oh fuck,
Oh,
we
yeah.
heard it
But even
5
if it
streets
was
over.
like, you know,
Yeah.
you didn't even go home like if you hurt yourself unless you were like a bone was sticking out. of your
Damn right. Like that was.
body.
I've said it before. I'm at home.
Yep.
I'm a baseball fan. I'm
We-
8 years old,
Yeah.
and WGN Cubs come on. So I watch Harry for 3 innings.
1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Yep.
And then Harry goes over to the radio side for 4, 5, and 6.
Yep.
So I go outside for 4, 5, and 6, and I sit there throwing off the pitch back. And then in the 7th inning, Harry's back on TV, so I go back inside. And I watch Harry for the last 3 innings. And then that gets done, and I go outside and I'm off the pitch back for like 8 more hours. And then I go to sleep with Ernie Harwell in my ear because I'm also a Tiger fan.
Oh God, yes.
And I want to hear Ernie until I go to sleep.
That's to say, I grew up. It's funny because I grew up with my grandparents,
Yep.
which is younger than your mom or older than your mom. But like, you know, my mom will tell you like she replaced a garage door because of how often we didn't have a
You would sit there and throw shit.
100%, right?
Yeah,
Like
I think it's too. Yeah.
I'm hit because my mom had the squares on the
Yep.
on the garage door, and I'm like, I'm hitting that square. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But like my buddy Joey, who we actually reconnected a couple weeks ago, because I slid around a corner. I seen him, and I'm waving, and I'm like, no shit. I was like, hey, you're doing countertops. I was like, hey, I do real estate. Like I always need countertops, and so, but it was. It's that's how you live life. Dude, whoever's outside throwing a baseball, hey, can we make a triangle?
Yeah.
So it was me, Joey, and Kathleen Chase, which but like we would do a triangle, and we're just throwing a ball back and forth all day, every day, right? And then Jacob would come over once in a while, but dude, we didn't have to be best friends. And so like
we got good at throwing because we constantly threw off a fucking wall.
Oh my god, yes. And like so, and then it'd be me, my brother Joey versus the 3 Hudson boys who live 2 houses down, which I bowl with their dad now. And then Kurt shows up, but like Randy and I, hey man, how's your mom? I was like, dude, you live 2 houses from her. She's but like no, like it's just that's how it was, right?
Yeah.
You went outside, you played. And the problem was okay, my mom had an abusive boyfriend. If you didn't go outside and play, you got your ass beat, right? You can either sit in here and get your ass beat, or you can go outside and play and not get your ass beat, right?
Yep. I remember playing lawn darts before they were banned.
Lawn darts, yeah. But right, like I, and growing up with my grandparents, right? You that's what we would do. And David and I knows, like I like the Cubs, not as much as David. Like I'm more of a Tigers fan than I am a Cubs fan. You're more of a Cubs fan than you are a Tigers fan. But
WGN every day.
100%, right? Because my grandparents would watch the Cubs, and my grandfather and I, we umpired together. My grandfather and I, that's why he's my dad, right? Like, he is my best friend. We did so much together. He taught me so many things. Granted, he also taught me not to buy 100 foot of electrical wire because we could buy an extension cord and cut it in half. It's a story you don't be there for.
I would be a bigger Tiger fan, if they were on TV every day.
And they weren't though.
They weren't. The Cubs were,
right, and every day. And so, before they got the lights, which was huge. And so and then
I remember I'm like 6, 7 years old. And at that point, I'm watching like Alice and Welcome Back, Kotter at night, and the Cubs would come on, and I'd be pissed off.
You know who we both agree upon?
And then like 2 or 3 years later, I just want to watch the Cubs. What?
You know who we both agree upon not caring that they were on TV?
Yeah,
the fucking Yankees.
Fuck them. Yankees. Fuck the Yankees. Sorry, Chris. Fuck them.
I'm sorry. I had a little bit of static in my head. Did you say something? I'm sorry.
So we're on the cruise. We're on the cruise, and Chris has a Yankees hat on. He's got a Yankee shirt on. And I'm like, you know what? Like, it's fine. I'm going to get over this guy. Your pants don't say Yankees. And I look down. He's got fucking Yankee sandals on. And I'm like, Chris, man, like, I can't do this. Like, we can't be best friends because how much you like the Yankees. But I will give you so much credit because Aaron Judge is a beast of a person. He is built like a baseball player that is the person that you build on a video game just to cheat the system.
Well,
Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge. But let's face it. There's many people in many sports that make the sport really truth and honest. And whether you're a Yankee fan or not, the name Derek Jeter pops up more times.
He's from Kalamazoo, Michigan.
So he is the purebred sports icon. And it wasn't for the money. He kept his money. He herded it, and he didn't go out blow it. He bought a baseball team with it. Why? Because for the sport he loves, that's what he did with his money.
That's
and that's the God's honest truth.
Yep.
And that is a true sportsman.
That's exactly it.
And you look at all these other sports now, and even badminton or lawn darts, as Mike likes to make fun of it.
Yeah.
Everybody changes teams. Like they change their underwear every day because they're chasing the money. There is no love of the game anymore.
Yep. Well, I would
be only true. I'll tell you, honestly, to interject. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
To interject. The only true game that really pays what they should pay, is the NFL.
Is what?
Is the NFL.
No. They have
Hold on. Only reason being is because in 18 games, you can lose your life.
Yes.
I agree, but like their linemen are making $450,000. I mean, right? Like it's
but it doesn't matter though. But here's the thing, and I say it doesn't matter, and I'm wrong. The terminology I'm using is wrong. But for what they make, they can lose their life at any time. It's a physical sport.
Yep.
Concussions, anything wrong with the body can go wrong.
and will go wrong.
It will go wrong.
Yeah, you've seen
And
it. I mean,
they
you know,
deserve-
I was watching the game when Mike Heltley broke his neck.
Yep. And,
Look at Joe Theismann. Joe Theismann
Joe
was the
Theismann.
same way. Broke his
You know,
leg.
I
right?
will say,
Troy Aikman, concussions. Love him or hate him, concussions. You know,
And-
that's just what it is.
I will say, okay, so I'm a soccer fan. And most of the,
Pele died today.
that's why I was going to give a big shout out.
82.
Pele. Hey, honestly, Pele, like the guy who changed the entire soccer world back in the day, right? Like, you know, and I wasn't around to watch that type of stuff, but like, you know, and the Cristiano Ronaldo thing that's came out, but like, and then really, you just, I loved Mbappe, like, and what he did. You get a hat trick and you still lose, like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But you know what I will say is, you know, I don't want to be a Wrexham fan because it's owned by Ryan Reynolds and the guy. It's funny because nobody knows his name. Everybody does, but it's from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Charlie Day.
No.
No, it's
Andy DeVito. Those
Rob
are the only two I
McElhenney.
know.
It's what?
Rob McElhenney.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So
Yeah.
those, but like they're famous again because of this. And I'm now, I watched all of it and I binged watched the shit up because I loved it. And I could be a Wrexham fan, but I'm realizing like those guys make $45,000 a year, but they're driving BMWs over in fucking Europe, and it blows my mind.
But it's even soccer's corrupted, Nick.
100%.
They had that
And then some.
FIFA thing.
Yeah.
They had the FIFA thing, what, 7-8 years ago?
Oh, and yesterday
Right.
and the day before.
Right.
sake.
I mean, but
Yeah.
but even soccer's corrupted. There is no truth or loyalty in sports anymore.
You don't think
It's
NFL's
so
corrupted?
sad.
No,
I'm
they're
sorry?
all corrupted.
I mean, I really truly think the NFL's corrupted as a Lions fan. How many rules and
Well, I'm sorry.
how many rules have changed?
I am
It's-
too.
It's,
That's
literally the Kelvin Johnson. It's the
Non-catch.
the non-catch catch, and they change a fucking rule because of this, right? Like,
How many times have
immaculate
refs-
You have to make a football move for it to be a catch.
get the fuck out of here.
Hang on. Let me go.
But how many times have we watched Super Bowls even? And sorry, I got to use the correct term. The big game,
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
a
Thanks for crossing
blatant
us,
call
Mike.
was missed, right?
Dude,
A
it's-
blatant call was missed. Automatically, the ref's on the take. right?
I got to go to something Nick just said. The Immaculate Reception happened, what was it, 50 years ago the other day?
50 years ago. Yep.
And Nick just referred to it as the Immaculate Conception.
You say, right? But like that's what it is. It's literally
Or it
just
could be
this-
the immaculate perception, depending on how you look at it.
Could be.
No pun intended.
no, you know, so I
But yeah, and I mean, it said, yeah, probably if that exact play were to happen now because of all the replays, it would probably be an incomplete.
oh my
Oh,
god.
totally.
Fuck replays.
Or it
Okay.
might be one of those that because if they called it a reception on the field, they may not have had enough to overturn it.
I think the NFL did okay with what they're doing, but if baseball turns into this, a batter can fucking put his hand on top of his helmet to say that he wants to call a ball or a strike, I will never watch another baseball game.
I'm gonna tell you right
in my
now,
fucking life.
There are a couple things I fucking hate about new
Baseball.
baseball rules.
No, fuck.
This,
Replay is one of them.
yeah, I'm not a
The
huge
extra
fan of
innings is
replay.
bullshit. The extra innings is bullshit. That's
Wait,
bullshit.
wait,
Start with a
extra
runner on
innings, what's up?
second.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
fuck that.
starting on second.
No, this is
Start-
stupid.
I mean,
Getting
they turned it
banning
into
the
softball.
shift,
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
banned
Oh,
the
yeah,
shift.
banning
That's
the
one that
shift.
pisses me the fuck off.
Wait,
Getting
no,
rid
you're
of
telling me you
pitchers
studied
hitting.
years and years of how people hit, and we've done our thing, and you're gonna say, "Hey, you can't think the way
So-
you do." Fuck you.
This guy can only throw the ball down the third base line. And so we can't put three people on that side of the field. Fuck
We're
you.
gonna save that for baseball. All right, let's not get.
Chris, we're gonna talk baseball in like February. You need to join us, I think.
Please do. And actually, I'm
Spring
gonna watch
training.
this. I'm gonna watch a series
Yeah,
of
we're
Star Trek just to make sure you're
before that.
on. No, he said he'll go on until we watch it all.
Let's go.
Comic-Con.
Yeah, so let's
Chris,
get to
Alright.
the Comic-Con. So
I've
let
enjoyed
me ask
myself
you
with
this.
Comic-Con,
Did you? Okay.
but here's what I want to know.
Nick's been to Tiny Comic.
I've been to 2 Comic-Cons. We're actually, David sent me the dates and I forgot
For
them. So you're
C2E2.
going to send them again.
Yeah, I will.
And you're going to let me know when you get your tickets. My brother and I will buy tickets. So that's a guarantee. So
Yeah,
let
I'm
me know when you buy
going
tickets.
to see what days people are going to be there.
But I don't, so like, just let me know when they go on sale. I will buy them
Yeah,
for the
they're on
dates. I
sale
don't-
right now.
Really? I'll buy Saturdays then guaranteed.
Okay. Yeah, they're on sale right now.
Okay. I'll tell my brother to get the day off. Because you're going to go for the people. We're going to go for the people watching.
Right.
Because my brother's never been, I've never been, and then we want to just guarantee it.
It's 10 times better than
So-
what happens.
So let's start with start with the smallest talker, who's going to be
Mhm.
the biggest talker now. Mike, all right, this is a question for the 3 of you. What is your favorite part of a con?
Oh wow.
Oh wow, yeah, you're welcome.
Hold
Welcome
on.
to an hour.
Hold on, I gotta get my
podcast.
notepad out.
Yep,
I gotta
here
get
we
my
go.
notepad.
For me,
out.
at
As
this
an
point right
attendee
now-
or somebody that's helping.
What's your
Right, but-
favorite part of Comic Con?
So I have two
Mike
hats.
goes first.
Go, Mike.
I mean, mine's pretty easy, and I think Dave will
See?
guess it right
See?
off the
That's
bat.
why.
It's basically it's being able to Muppet.
Oh no shit! I've never
Yeah.
seen you in your Muppet outfit at a con.
He
I've
hasn't
only
done it
been
since
I've only
2019.
done
I
it.
know it's the problem. So I'm so excited
It's
for this.
depending on if I come up for when you guys are in Byron, I'll bring Waldorf or
Oh,
something.
I'll totally wear that.
Okay. So now, Chris said he has to get his notepad. He's literally writing. Look
He,
at this.
he
shit.
is. So
David,
I
what's
will
yours?
say, as a 501st member,
Yes.
I love running around in my Tuscan. I really do.
Okay.
But as an attendee, like my daughter, I love meeting celebrities and getting pictures and autographs and stuff. I mean, I have a blast doing that.
So
I think the problem I have
Chris,
is I've
real
only
quick.
also gone to the small ones. So I've
Yeah.
never had the opportunity to go to like the Chicago one, like the C2
So-
or whatever, and meet
and
like
be
celebrities.
people,
Like
yeah.
I'm gonna ask this.
I got
Hold on,
to-
real quick.
I got to get a picture with Sergeant Slaughter giving me the
Which was huge.
Cobra Clutch.
Yes.
I was gonna ask that. So Mike, you got a picture with Slaughter. He gave you the Cobra Clutch. How great was that?
that was really awesome.
That's what
He
I.
could have choked me out in 2 fucking seconds.
So people
Yeah.
were asking me, hey, like your con stuff, and I was like, Sergeant Slaughter was here last year. Granted,
Yeah.
I didn't go up and get the photo and all that. Like, I ran into people I knew who were like, I didn't know they were nerds, and they're not. But like, he's like, dude, Sergeant Slaughter's here. I got my fucking bobblehead, and I got
Yeah.
this, and I was like, that's awesome, dude. Like, and so I'm sitting here going, I watched Sergeant Slaughter. Like, this was a huge thing.
I took
But I will say real quick, like you said, hey, your daughter likes to get autographs just as much
Yeah.
as you do. It's probably because she sees the passion in your eyes. When
Oh,
you,
absolutely.
like when you get these autographs, you're just so excited because you have more autographs in your house of people
Yeah.
I don't know than I have baseball people in
Yeah.
my shelf that people don't know.
Well, I have sports people, I have
Right.
actors.
Yeah.
So when we got Slaughter, I took the picture that he had Mike in the Cobra Clutch and the picture that he had me in the Cobra Clutch, and I got both of them signed. And Slaughter writes on, I think both of them, he wrote, I want a
Agree.
rematch.
Yep.
Which was cool as shit.
And I mean,
'cause
at this
mine-
point,
you
yeah,
mean
it's
he
like
didn't-
going up to like Guy Gilchrist and do it in our
Yeah.
Oh, you mean he didn't write Yo Joe?
He did on the GI Joe one I got because I got
Yeah,
a GI Joe picture too.
Yeah.
So now, all right, Chris, let's hear
Yes,
it.
sir.
What's your favorite part of a con?
Okay. Starting from so let me preface this again. I am a Star Trek fan, so I've been going to Star Trek conventions since 2010. I've missed one convention from Star Trek, and that was the 50th anniversary. So, but here's what I can say. First and foremost, the family that's there. If you go to a convention, say Rhode Island, say Michigan, say conventions in Michigan, you go to the same one every year, you see the same people, or you meet others. And those people become family, and this becomes a family reunion every year. As of late, that's how I felt. Secondly, it's the fans. Like you guys, people watching across the way, costumes, things of that nature. Third is going to be the celebrity. And reason why is because some celebrities will make the con, or in my case, will make the con, others won't. and some new ones will come to the con. So there's more autographs and more conversations. And this goes back to what I said earlier, by treating people because they put their pants on one leg at a time. These people are people too. You know, there's the old sketch from SNL where Shatner is up on a stage. And you got Kevin Nealon and David Carney, Dana Carvey, and Rob Schneider, and they're like, "In season 4, episode 5, you did this with your right hand. What happened to your left one?" And Shatner says, "What? Get a life," which sparked the documentary Get a Life, which is available on streaming service. You'll have to check it out. And I think that's the one where I have my 15-second debut at 7.5 minutes in. You see the back of my head as I walk down the hallway. That being said,
we have a fucking celebrity and then some on.
We do.
Here, wait, hold on. Let me reenact it. Hold on.
Yeah.
I've seen that
exactly,
before.
That's exactly it. So I think the celebrity, it's the interaction that you have. That celebrity means so much to you because that's true story. Star Trek Deep Space Nine, there's an episode where two characters are at odds because they cannot speak to each other. And
language differences.
Language differences. And there's a podcast called The Trek Geeks. Bill and Dan, what's up? If you haven't listened to them, you need to. They are the ultimate podcast in Star Trek. Hands down.
Can I listen to like 3 episodes of that instead of watching an entire season?
No, you cannot.
No.
Sorry.
Shit. All right.
I'm sorry.
I tried getting out of it.
But one of the co-hosts, Dan Davidson, was on the verge of suicide to the point where the hammer was cocked, and watched that episode with the two characters. I can't think of the name.
You said
of the
Dan?
episode. Dan Davidson and Bill Smith are the hosts of Trek Geeks. And he talks about it publicly on the show. There's an episode that's dedicated to it too. But he literally had the gun barrel to his mouth, hammer cocked, watched that episode, and that episode saved his life. And he was able to thank both actors of that episode. And that is, to me, that is what a celebrity is. That celebrity, though they may not have the interaction with you, but the presence and what the essence of the time that it was that the episode came on really honestly puts that memory ingrained in your head, and that meaning of a celebrity is what really counts. The celebrities are like people too, man. You can have your conversations with them. Yeah, they're 10, 15 minutes. Yeah, you may see them in the hall, you say hello, but it's that interaction. And that's something that can never be forgotten. You know, they say it's a picture is great, or an autograph is great, but it's really the thought and the interaction.
And that, like, so I'm really excited because Jay Muse is coming.
Yeah.
And
Astronomicon.
Yep.
It like
Kevin's coming
one
too.
I might
Yeah,
want to
so
go
Kevin
because
Smith's coming.
I would love
So
to get-
the amount you guys have talked about how much they care about their fans.
Mhm.
So I'm in the back of a bowling alley, 15 years old, and I'm watching every Jay and Silent Bob thing that they have ever put out. Like, I have a VC. So it's funny. We had a little TV in the back of the bowling alley. I'm in a box that's 2 foot by 2 foot. Like, back then I could fit in there. And I'm sitting here watching this, and then hey, ball return, but like I'd pause it. And this is VHS, right? And so I'm watching everything they put out, and because I thought they were the most hilarious people, like, and the way you guys talk about them, and they're supposed to be there for an hour, 2 hours, and they make it 6 hours because they want to shake every fan's hand. They want to interact with these people.
So I'm
Like,
gonna tell this story.
This is huge.
So Fan Expo bought out Wizard World, for anybody that doesn't know. And in August of last year, late July, early August, Fan Expo Chicago happened. And Caitlin really wanted to get an autograph and a picture with Kevin Smith. She loves Kevin Smith, not necessarily for Clerks or anything, but because he is huge into comics, and What?
The sign on the back of the thing said "Animals of Hollywood." You dumb fuck. Like that's why I love Kevin Smith.
So
right, like
he directed episodes of The Flash, which she loves, and
did you really?
He did, and the comics. So she's like,
There's
Dad,
a lot
I
of
really
things. Like there's so many things he's directed that I'm like, oh my
There's-
god, I didn't realize he directed.
she's like, Dad, I really want this. I'm like, all right, that's great. I'll buy the photo op and the autograph for Kevin and Jay, and we'll go. So and I mean, for me, if she wants something, I'm gung ho.
100%.
So we go down, and there were 3 people we were going to see. We were going to see Anthony Daniels, who was C-3PO. We were going to see Carl Weathers, who is Grief Karga, and also Apollo Creed.
Okay.
More importantly,
C-3PO
Apollo
was a
Creed.
person.
Yeah.
C-3PO was a
It's
person.
a skinny little person.
And mind you, Caitlin goes, I really loved you in Mandalorian to Carl Weathers. And I said, Apollo
in-
Creed is one of my favorite characters of all time because I
Predator.
fucking love Apollo Creed.
Yeah.
Predator was another one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we get a photo with Carl, we get a photo with Anthony. And after the photo with Anthony, they're like, hey, you get to get your Jay and Silent Bob photo op.
Yep.
So we get into line and we don't move for an hour. We just don't fucking move. And Caitlin and I are looking at each other like, what in the hell is going on? Well, we figured it out. So by the time we get up to the front, like an hour and 45 minutes later, we learn that when you walk in there, Kevin has to hug you for a solid 30 seconds.
That's awesome.
So he hugs me for 30 seconds. He hugs Caitlin for 30 seconds. We go give a fist bump to Jay. We get the picture. Picture's done. Kevin now has to hug you for a solid 30 seconds.
It's huge.
So he hugs Caitlin for 30 seconds. He hugs me for 30 seconds. We get out. And I'm like, well, that took a long ass time. And she goes, yeah, but it was totally worth it. I'm like, totally.
And
Absolutely. So we go to get in line for the autograph. It's like 4:00. They don't know where to put you in line. So you're just kind of standing in the middle of fucking nowhere. We didn't get the autograph until 45 minutes after the con closed, which was 7:00. We got it at 7:45. So literally we were in line for 3 hours and 45 minutes. We get the autograph from Jay, and she had brought 2 of her Jesse Quick pins. So she gives one to Jay. He's real excited about it, puts it on immediately. She's thrilled. He signs the picture. We get in the back of Kevin's line because, they're only letting about 6 people in at a time. Fine. Yep. And we walk up to Kevin, and she gives him a pin. And he's all excited. He has to know all about it. So she tells him. And he goes, all right, do you want me to make this out to you? And she's like, nah, it's all right. And he goes, come on, I'm happy to make it out to you. And she's like, nah, it's all right. And he goes, so you have a really hard name, right? It's like 13, 14 letters long. And she's like, no, it's Caitlin. I said, yeah, it's 7 letters. He goes, all right, give it to me. So we spell it Katlynn. And he goes, all right, do it with me. And he just starts writing Katelyn. And he goes, see, it was easy. And I went, yep. You added a letter and you missed one. And he goes, what? I'm like, yep, you fucked it up. And he goes, motherfucker. And he looks at the guy next to him, his agent or handler or whatever. And the guy looks at him and goes, you asked for it. It's your fucking fault.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He goes, I can fix it. So he signs it. Love, Kevin Smith. I'm sorry I added an E and missed an N. I love you, Kevin Smith. So she has the greatest fucking story ever.
Yeah.
And he has a lifelong, she will never forget that for the rest of her life.
100%, right?
There's actually 2 stories involved in that.
Yeah.
There's 2 stories involved in that. There's one, the story of the store closes, but the store doesn't close because there are those celebrities that will leave it open because everybody will get their damn turn.
Yep.
And then there's the experience. And that is why it depends on the con that you're going to, because you do have like Reed Pop that does SDCC and New York Comic Con and now Star Trek Comic Con. They just entered the arena and they screwed everybody over this year. Well, that's for another discussion for another time. But you have the ones that read pop, you have Creation Entertainment, you
Mhm.
have the cruise lines, you have all these different Wizard World or Fan Expo. You drive yourself on the experience and how the staff handles the experience
Mhm.
from the time you walk into the first panel to the time you walk out that day looking forward to the second panel. And that's only 1/3 of the con. The other two have to do with the celebrity and the fans and the family itself too. But your daughter walks away with an experience that she'll never forget.
Absolutely.
And a lot of celebrities will ask, do you want me to make this out to you? Because why? Because they're going to go ahead. Some people will have them sign a piece of paper without their name on it, go on eBay and make money.
Yep.
Right.
So if they make it personal, they can't sell it on eBay.
Right. Unless the
That's why.
person's name is spelled the exact same.
Exactly.
Well, I have a list of people that if I'm at a con and they're there, I will see. I don't give a shit. I will see them no matter what.
Henry Winkler.
Henry Winkler is one of them.
I would absolutely love, because I really like, I'm a fanboy, right?
Yeah.
Like, just great.
I would love to see Tara Strong. That is my
That's one of
That
the
is
ones
my
on my
ultimate.
list. I need
that's
her.
one of the ones on my list.
Nick's sitting here going, I don't know who the fuck that is.
Harley Quinn from the Batman the Animated Series.
She's also she was Batgirl in The Killing Joke.
Yes.
So just to talk nerdy shit.
Yep.
I bought a Killing Joke picture that Mark had signed.
As you say, just to talk nerdy shit, Nick gets up, walks away.
Exactly. So I had bought, the Killing Joke poster. It's an 8x10, but Mark had signed it. And he signed it in a green paint pen. Paint pen. I saw Kevin like 6 months after I bought it, and I had him sign it in blue.
Oh, I got a question for you after the story. Go ahead.
Sure. The only one I need on it now is Tara.
Yeah.
And she was supposed to do Motor City, I want to say 2019, and she ended up having to cancel because she was sick. So I got to catch her so I can get that one on there. What's your question, Chris?
Kevin Conroy.
Yes.
We are all old enough to know
Yep.
Batman the Animated Series. Some would say he is the best Batman of all the Batmans. Your thoughts on hearing the news that he died?
So it was Friday at Grand Rapids Comic Con, and one of the guys in the garrison goes, "Oh my God, Kevin Conroy just passed away." And I went, "You're kidding." And he goes, "No." So I went and looked it up, and he had cancer. It was a very short battle. And I'm of the firm emotion that, Adam West, Michael Keaton, Christian Bale, they're all great. But Kevin Conroy is the Batman.
I agree.
You also go with Mark Hamill being the Joker.
Mark Hamill is the Joker.
Well, here's where I sit on the whole Batman debacle,
Mhm.
if you don't mind.
Sure, go
here's
ahead.
where I sit on the whole Batman debacle. And I think this is true for almost any movie, but the director sees how the character should be played. So Jack Nicholson was the best Joker for Tim Burton's Batman.
Oh,
Heath
yeah.
Ledger was the best Joker for Chris Nolan's
Christopher
Batman.
Nolan. Mhm.
Chris Nolan's Batman. And Mark Hamill, the same for Andrea Romano's Batman, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think, people say, well, who's the best Batman? Who's the best this, whatever. It's how the director sees it is the best for that film. But overall, I think you're right, Dave. I really do. Yeah, Kevin Conroy to me was the Batman because all you needed was his voice. And even when he did his stint on the Arrowverse, when they did the it may not have looked like the Batman we thought it was, but when we saw Kevin Conroy's face and we heard the voice, we all went apeshit. We all went apeshit, 100%.
The best part about Conroy is he's the first actor to ever have a different voice for Bruce Wayne than he had for the Batman.
Sure.
and it literally made it two different characters.
Mhm.
And for me, it was literally game changing. Because I mean, being a kid that was born in 77 and watching cartoons, turn into real life movies, everything was always the same. I mean, Superman always had the same voice, whether he was Superman or whether it was Clark Kent.
Batman 66.
Correct. Always the same voice. And then Conroy comes in the mid 90s, and as Batman, he has this very high pitched good guy voice. And then all of a sudden, for Bruce, he turns into Batman, and he's menacing and he's scary, and he was everything I needed Batman to be.
Same thing that Mark had, like Michael said. Well, same thing for Mark Hamill and the Joker. You needed that maniacal, that somewhat maniacal tone. And
with him, he could do it all the time because he was not Joker.
Right.
Yep.
But he set the tone.
Yeah.
He set the tone for it. A lot of these guys like Troy Baker and some other actors who have played the Joker in the animated series or in the video games, even they model themselves after Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy because they were the OGs. You had how many people did voice acting for Batman after the animated series? I can't think. I had a name in my head, but it dropped.
We're talking just about like different, Jokers and
right.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. Troy Baker was a name that played the Joker. I think he played him in The Killing Joke.
No, that was Hamill.
That was Hamill.
2019 New Year's Eve, we visit his cousin in Illinois.
Yeah,
and her stepkids, right? They're his.
No, they're hers. It's her
kids.
son.
Okay.
Love
he's
the
like
Joker.
all about Joaquin Phoenix and that.
Oh yeah,
in the Joker.
In the Joker, yeah.
And
and that's one I still haven't
and Dave
seen.
Hated it, because they're talking it up, best performance as Joker, but I mean, it's not a good story as like a Joker or even Batman origin story. But I looked at it having a psychology degree as basically kind of a guy with a mental illness, really like not getting support and falling into really becoming an outcast. And
it was a great story
from that perspective.
It was a great story. He just wasn't the Joker.
Right. It was a great story, and Michael's right because 97% of the audience actually agreed with it. It was mental illness.
Yeah.
Is what the Joker was suffering from.
Yeah.
And I think that's where they portrayed it. So Nick, my question to you, sir, I am the guest, but I have now switched the tables. So my question to you is this. So if this was your first ever Comic-Con, or have you been to them before?
Second Comic-Con this year.
So, and it's the
same one.
Same one. Looking at it as a second, wanting to go to a third, what do you think needs to change, if anything? What would you like to see more of? What would you like to see less of?
That's a great question. All right, so for the Grand Rapids one, we apparently in Grand Rapids have a huge following of Japanese
Anime.
I'm so far away from that, right? And what I think needs to change is more of the Marvel, more of the superhero, more of the fun aspect of that stuff. Over by the 501st and Mandalorian area, it's kind of so. All right, we have 10 aisles of just packed, right? And then you get to this open area, and it's just not drawing in what it should, right? There's a Star Trek little spot. There, one guy dresses up as him. He looks like the guy from. He really does. He looks like the guy from Star Trek. It's great, and you can see, but like these people aren't drawn into this aspect of things. It's a lot of anime stuff that I don't understand. So I wish that there was more of the Comic-Con. Also, like the people around here. So things I think I could do better. On my list, I'm not going to lie to you. So David and I are going to talk off air. We need to buy a con, right? David and I need to
Totally down.
Just like, because personally, I feel like I could market the shit out of this so much better and bring in people that are going to do some great things. And David understands all of this. I understand a marketing aspect of what, what should happen, because I'm an average person, right? Like, again, when my non-nerd friends are willing to pay $45 just to come get an autograph, like plus the autograph fee or whatever it is, like that's when you've brought in the right people above the people that are just going to guarantee to come.
So I'm going to interrupt you for a second here. So Chris, our Grand Rapids Comic Con.
Yeah.
The big draws this year were they had 5 or 6 Jasons from Friday the 13th.
Okay.
They had a reunion of the X-Men animated series from the 90s.
Okay.
They had like 6 or 7 of those.
Mm-hmm.
They had some anime people and some YouTube guests. They had Victoria Price, the daughter of Vincent Price.
Right.
They had the original voice actors of Bambi and Thumper.
And this is Fan Expo, yeah.
No, this is Grand Rapids Comic.
Grand Rapids. Okay.
This is a nobody. I don't know. I mean, as a person,
it's the second biggest con in Michigan, but it's still run like a tiny con.
Sounds to me like they don't know the demographic.
Part of it is the owner is a nice guy, but he gets things that he thinks is awesome.
Again, not knowing the demographic though. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So he tied up resources for 14 guests in literally 2 fandoms, Friday the 13th and X-Men the animated series. Because X-Men,
really,
those people, the animated series.
Oh,
Yeah.
I say,
So these people haven't done other things.
Yeah.
I will tell you, okay, so the animated aspect, because like, right, like I didn't see Professor Xavier, which is something I would know. Like I didn't see these,
But you're thinking Patrick Stewart,
right? Like I'm thinking,
so like Wolverine was there, but it's not Hugh Jackman, it's Kel Dodd, which for me is cool because I love the 90s X-Men cartoon.
sure,
But my daughter didn't give a shit.
right.
I mean, she didn't care.
And honestly, I seen a really young crowd there. Like we were,
They're fairly young.
we were,
The Kirk twins were one of the most popular celebrities there,
which is surprising because I've never heard of them until the con.
and they've been there like 3-4 years in a row. But
really,
but again, you look at this and you
I
tied
love
up
them.
14 guests in 2 fandoms that
Yep.
they haven't branched out and done other things.
So
right.
all right, so I went Saturday. All right,
Mhm.
so I think the year before I must have went on a Friday or a Sunday, and then I went on a Saturday this year. Being an extrovert
Mhm.
like you, son of a bitch, the amount of people that were at this place, and then because I went home so excited after Saturday. And I was like, hey, my daughter's gonna go back with me. I want my wife to go.
Mhm.
There was nobody.
Yeah, Sunday's
like-
not very popular.
You weren't there Sunday, but like
I wasn't.
I would say, like, I'm not trying to be that guy, but like I'd say a third of the people. Like I could literally run around, right? Like and this Saturday was assholes to elbows, fun, exciting, people looking at stuff. This was a very awesome event.
You talk about marketing, and this is where the marketing comes in.
That's
'Cause
exactly
this is
it.
where the big stars come in late Friday.
Yep.
So they'll do a panel on Friday. They'll
Thank
do
you.
an autograph.
Thank you. Right.
They'll do an autograph and signing session the next day.
Yep.
And maybe stay half the day for Sunday because
Maybe.
Sundays normally the convention slows down, people go, but where they get their tickets and where they get their money is Friday and Saturday.
But think about it. Okay, so Friday was
It was fairly dead.
So Fridays are dead, like in a sense. Okay, so if you get somebody, okay, so if I'm charging, okay,
I
let's
think
just
it's different
plain
in
numbers,
Grand
plain
Rapids
numbers.
than it is in the
if I'm doing
major market Comic Cons.
if I'm doing $35, $50, and $35 for tickets.
Mhm.
If I get some, okay, so now if I get somebody to come in late Friday, let's say the con closes at 10. If I get somebody to come in at 7, 8 o'clock and the con opens early, if I get you to pay full price to only be there for 3 hours, holy shit, I've made double my money because people are leaving.
And you can do that at big cons.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, you could do that at cons, like you just have to want it, right? But
My biggest issue with the way Grand Rapids is run is he's looking at So like he brought in the guy that played David Putty. He was the Tick. I can never remember.
Patrick Warburton. Patrick Warburton.
Yeah.
So he brought him in the year before COVID. And this was going to be
year I actually went there in costume.
Right.
Yeah.
This was going to be the big guest.
Because that's when the Tick was going to go live, I think.
Yeah, and he thought it was going to get him Nancy Cartwright.
Yeah.
Sure.
So he brings Warburton in. He paid like $30,000 for him as a guarantee.
Chump change.
And the guy didn't sell tickets. I mean, most people that met him just went up to him and shook his hand and walked away.
Sure.
Because he allows that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm all for meeting the people, but you have to pay to meet I mean, that's charging to have them there.
So here's my thing is I assume that. Okay, so my brother is a David version of a different realm. Okay, so like you're into what everybody would know.
Yeah.
My brother is into this anime. He's into Pokemon. He's in. So the lady from Pokemon was there. That voices Ash and Pikachu or whatever, right? And I found her on TikTok the day later. But like she seems really cool because I found her on TikTok and I'm like, man, she's running around like, hey, blah blah blah, like nice costume. But like I would assume you have to pay just to meet these people. You don't have to apparently.
It really depends on the con. There are some that you have to.
Grand Rapids, you don't have to.
You really don't.
So
I'm not saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm not saying you have to charge for this, right? But like, if you don't have to charge for it, make it known that. Okay, so my brother, every goddamn year, I love my brother to pieces. Okay, but he is an introvert beyond introverts of introverts. Okay, like
to the point that when we've seen him at his job, he won't say hi to us.
Right, like. Hey, I'm David. Yeah, I know who you are. Cool. Like, right, like my brother, like, but like, damn excited. He's so fucking excited about this lady. He's like, oh, she does that, she does this, and he's like, I got 14 DVDs with her in it, and you know, I should get her to sign all of them. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, let's do this. And he's like, no, I'm like, cool. Tomorrow, which is why we went the next day. I was like, dude, get her to sign this stuff. And I was like, you bring the DVDs? And he's like, no. And I was like, he had a Pokemon card of a person. And I was like, dude, fucking get him to sign it. And I was like, you bring a card? And he's like, no, but he'll go spend $50 on a fucking Slytherin box of some bullshit. And I'm like, Sean, like, I get that you don't care about the signature aspect, but like, you seem to have a want to meet this person. So like, right,
go get a picture with them.
Right, exactly. Like, do something. Be like,
it's social anxiety. That's what it is.
There's a lot of that.
It's not.
And
for him.
I've got the same. Like, I'm not that bad, but I get a little uncomfortable when I'm not in costume at the cons because naturally I am an introvert, but I can be very extroverted around people. I am comfortable.
Right.
But like, we circle back to JDF.
And so like, right, and dude, the Ranger was there, right? And I'm like, dude, you and I both love this. Granted, I was a green and white Ranger played by the same character. My brother was a Blue Ranger fan. And I'm like,
and they had the Red Ranger.
Right, and they had the Red Ranger. And I'm like, dude, just like, I don't care. Just go say, hey, man. Like when I said the sounds, right? Dun, 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 that's when they all came together. They whistled this stupid thing and they made this big ass character to beat everybody. And that was awesome. Like I was 8 years old. And that sound, that noise, that it's in my brain. That's what it is. Like, and so trying to get so the thing is like Comic-Con doesn't do a good job to they make you walk through whatever. They don't welcome you and tell you what the things are. They hand you a little thing and say, here you go. But like on that list, it doesn't say who the fuck's there, who doesn't say anything.
They assume that people know walking in.
Right, but like stop doing that, right? Like again,
is there
excited?
Oh, go ahead.
I'm more excited to go get fucking cinnamon almonds than I am.
You were really excited about vegetables, pickled vegetables.
Vegetables. Okay, so like you have no idea about this. Okay, so first thing I do when I walk in, I was like, oh my god, I'm going to get pickled vegetables from the pickle company that's 3 hours away from me to the east, like because they have hot pickles, they have dill pickles, they have spicy pickles, they have this, they have that,
asparagus, and
right,
all
like,
sorts of shit.
Like, and then I was like, hey, let me get a full pound of fucking pickled vegetables, and I walked around, people were like, oh my god, where's that at? And I was like, right there. My brother, he has no problem walking up to the people who are like, hey, free refills on pop. Come get your shitty ass pop from this pop dispenser. And he'll spend the money and he'll pay for me to get my refills, and I always get water. But so that
I
needs
do
to
like
change.
the little flavored sodas or whatever you get the little
Yeah, the mug, right? My brother buys the
and
mug,
whatever.
but like I only get water. So he brings his cup from last year, the past years,
Yeah.
and I get water with it, right? Like, and the lady's like, yeah, get what you want. And so my daughter got lemonade, but like, so tell people who's willing to do this stuff. Like, tell people who's willing to sign, who's willing to shake hands, who's willing to do whatever, because
They're not worried about that stuff.
but that's where you make $5, and $5 times 100 people is 500 people.
They're not making that money. The con itself is not.
Who gives a shit? Like, get people to want to come there. I tell you
So-
what. Okay, hey, look. So you said, okay. So I don't know ranking of people, but if you bring a Henry Winkler in,
Yeah.
and he's willing to just go to Grand Rapids, and then the next step above him, I don't mean to be disrespectful to people, but like, let's say you bring in a Jay and Silent Bob. And let's say above that is Chris Pratt.
Mhm.
Okay. And then above that is Stan Lee, who's dead now. But like, right, like let's just say like
Robert Downey Jr.
Thank you. Right. Like if you bring in Iron Man, the real one.
Yeah.
Dude, like holy because these people are making, hey, you know what? Like they guarantee me 30,000, but I actually made 70. Like that word is gonna get around. I guarantee the word is gonna get around.
My biggest issue with Mark is he threw 30,000 at Warburton. Fine.
Sure.
He doesn't want to bring in Rooker because he's 50.
I don't know who were.
Michael Rooker, you do too.
Okay. What's he from?
Roddy
Yondu.
Burns.
Oh, yeah.
Yondu from
Yondu.
from Guardians.
No shit. Right. Like,
Rooker's been in 100 fucking things. He's in Walking Dead. He's in Guardians of Galaxy. He's in Days of Thunder.
He's
So
in
that's the entire
Cliffhanger.
thing is when you can get
I'm a Days of
people-
Thunder guy.
You're right.
Like now that
it's
you
You
hard.
would go see Rooker
100%
because he's in Days of Thunder. You love it.
wouldn't say anything about his new shit. I'd be like, dude, Days of Thunder.
And he would be excited. So the year that the first Guardians came out,
Right.
I go to the next Wizard in Chicago, and I got a shirt. No, it wasn't the first Guardians, it was the second one. I got a shirt that said, I'm Mary Poppins,
Yeah,
and it had Yondu on it.
Sure.
And I wore my Tuscan and I put it on and I had my bucket next to my head. So he takes a picture and he looks at me and he goes, that's fucking ugly. And I went, yep. And he goes, nobody wants to see your face. Put that fucking thing on. Okay. So I put my bucket on my head
With your shirt on.
with my shirt on. And he goes, look at me. So I look at him. He goes, point at me. So I point at him and they take that picture.
Right.
So like a year later, we go to another con that he's at. My wife takes that picture for him to sign. And he goes, I remember that. That fucking thing's ugly.
Right.
He's like, what is it? She goes, it's a Tuscan. So he writes on the fucking photo,
Ugly fucking Tuscan.
you're not Mary Poppins, you're a Tuscan, duh.
Duh. Like,
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, that's fucking cool.
so make sure
Yeah.
fucking okay. So this is the thing. Okay. Again, we all put our pant legs on one leg at a time.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
So this guy recognizes it, sees it, and even if he faked it, like he's still a person who wants to meet people who have seen him, whether it's a small thing or whether it's a big thing. Given the opportunity to see Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
I'm talking about 8 Crazy Nuts and Going Overboard, right? Like, which is, Bulletproof. Airheads, right? Like,
You get a lot with Adam Sandler, like Happy Gilmore.
but
you
like,
know,
right, but like that's what
Yes.
everybody's gonna do is that type of stuff. But like, given the opportunity, I'm gonna talk about the things that other people probably haven't seen. Airheads, dude, like that's fucking huge.
It's one of my favorite movies.
Put the monster away, right? Like that is hilarious to me. So
When I met Henry,
teach these people that these people are human,
Mhm.
and you're gonna get so many more people to come through with this. Like, dude, Henry Winkler.
when I met Henry Winkler, it
Yeah.
wasn't Waterboy. It wasn't even the Fonz. I love Happy Days. Okay. I grew up on Happy Days.
Yeah,
Let's reruns.
I got-
Eversteed.
reruns. Yeah,
Happy Days ended in like 1979. I was like 2.
Again, I had reruns.
Anyways, you know what I had Henry Winkler sign?
What's that?
Dr. Saperstein.
Eversteed.
Because I love Parks and Rec.
Right, and that's exactly it.
And I sat there looking at pictures and he's like, what would you like? And I'm like, honestly, I loved you as Fonz, but oh my God, I love Parks and Rec. He goes, I do too. And he signed it. He signed David is great. And again, I got a great story. He gave me a big hug, and I would meet Henry Winkler every time.
So, okay, so that's what I would change, right? Is understand that the people, like, I need, okay, we have 14 people in the back, and so we didn't even go see the Hart Twins because my daughter was like, hey, it was an awesome concert, but like, I'm scared to, and I was like, honestly, if you just walk up to him and be like, hey, I really enjoyed your concert.
Yeah, they'd have been
thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
As a 7-year-old looking up to these people who are 20 something years old, I don't know how old these two twins are, but like, it could impact how they think, how they interact, how they do things. So understand that there's a broad spectrum of people. Like, dude, your daughter's into this stuff because you're into this stuff, not because she is into it for herself, right? We talked about it, like, a smile on your face is worth $1 million.
Well, I mean, she flew all the way to Seattle
to go see
the Flash.
Right, exactly.
And then she ended up seeing a whole bunch of Marvel people while she was out there, and Mike and I drank on the deck.
Right. So, you know, and
puke.
Yes.
Sorry, Chris, did you ask my positives and my negatives? So that was my negatives. My positives, my positives are the fact that they really do fill those 10 aisles. And to be honest, I don't know if it's by chance or accident or what it is, but like really near the, okay. And so things I also want to see changed, is the back is usually like these random artists that I've never met, never heard of, never seen. And they're just like
Artist Alley.
Artist, right? And that's a thing apparently, but like it stops everybody from, and so it probably helps get the lines bit, but like there's nothing. And then the front part is crowded as crap, right? Like,
so Artist Alley, I probably spend 80% of my time there,
which is fine.
And I'm buying shit all the time because I can't do that.
But
like that to me is a huge talent. I can't draw.
Right, neither. But like my daughter, right? My daughter's sitting here going, and somebody had like, hey, 18 and older only to look through this stuff. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And then one guy's like, hey, here's this button of things. Thanks for your daughter to come through here. Because so I would say just start appealing to the masses, not just the one ofs, right?
They do that at other cons. They really do.
So here's I'm sorry.
And we're going to go to San Diego after we go to C2E2.
So here's the thing. Let's face it, these Comic Cons that come out, the big ones, STCC, NYCC, whatever have you, they already have their niche. And their niche is every freaking thing under the sun that's brand new. Here's what I'm going to say for your listeners out there that have never been to any Comic Cons. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say go to as many as you can in a year. If you go to as many as you can in a year, however far they are away, if you can afford an Interstate 1, go. And one, take in the sights. Okay. Two, if you want the full experience, go balls out. But I will say this, you're not going to have that good of a time because you're going to think you're going to make new friends. I met Dave, Nick, and Mike from Brooks and Brews. I spent $900 at a Star Trek convention for $900 worth of tickets that I'm not going to use a third of what they give me for free. So now I wasted $900. I could have bought a general admission ticket for $440 and saved that $500 for 10 autographs. Or a meet and greet. But here's what I'm going to say. If you want to go balls out, go balls out. But take in the experience first. And then figure out what it is you like. And have fun. That's it. Have fun.
Couldn't agree more. This year, all right, so we went on Saturday. I'm telling you, we went on Saturday and Sunday. But I will say, okay, so Saturday night they had a a after hours party.
Yep.
That was supposed to have an open bar and dancing and stuff like that. And my brother's not that kind of guy. He's a very introverted guy.
Yep.
But like all they said was, hey, we're gonna have a live DJ. They didn't say what type of music. They didn't say, like they might have said cash bar or something, but like they just didn't promote the shit out of it. Like if you're telling me, hey, it's going to have any one person there, like, because I told my brother, I was like, because I hear in my head, like I'm thinking, oh man, this is gonna be a freaking riot because we're gonna meet some people, you're gonna have a good time, like let's have a good time, bud. I was like, do you want to go? And he's like, nah, no, like, and I'm like, I'm fine with that, right? But like, also, I want him to, I want him to get out of his shell, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not, dude, I do that to you all the time, right?
All the time.
As an introvert, like, I'm like, no, David, we're going over here. I don't want to do that.
I
We're
do
gonna-
because I need somebody to hold my hand.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
we're going to do this. Like, you're going to, and you go to a strip club, right? Like,
Yep.
you don't go out of your way to find the girl that you want to dance with. You wait for her to come up with
Yeah, I
you.
just sit there.
And me, I'm over here like, hey, yo, sweetheart, this way, right? Like, and that's how I like.
Well, I mean,
sex,
not anymore, you don't. But
right? But like,
back in the day,
as sexist as it is, in an aspect, like I will ask for what I want, right? Like Nick wants, Nick gets, right? Like, and so, but like, and the other thing I will say that pisses me off is everybody at this con had resin pours that claim that they were their own, and that's full of shit.
Oh, yeah.
Stop fucking lying to me. I know the 3 companies that pour resins currently. Do not tell me that you poured them yourself. Do not lie to me. And that's, I told him, I was like, oh, you poured it? Great. Tell me your process. Oh, that's secret. No, that's bullshit. You didn't pour it. You bought it from that guy. And that, because that guy specifically makes rubber duckies, right? And because I'm looking for miniature Tonka trucks, because that's the thing I'm going for. And my wife gives me so much shit. I don't play D&D. I don't do stupid shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, I love dice. I have an obsession with dice. I own so many fucking sets of dice that I don't use. I use a D6, a D20. And if I run out of dice, I use everything in between. But really, I don't do. But so stop lying. Stop letting people sell stupid shit that isn't theirs. It pisses me off. And you need to. So all right,
I just felt that, if I could just say one thing, I just felt
Please.
the audience floor drop 10% because you mentioned D&D and dumb shit in the same sentence. So the listener attendance just went down 10%.
Your niece loves D&D.
But like, here's the thing. Okay, so my every year, my brother and I sit in on a D&D. Like they do a little like role play thing or whatever.
Okay.
Like, so they have the characters already set and you're supposed to play. Well, okay, so last year my brother and I had a great time playing D&D. Okay, this year we sat in. It took them an hour and 10 minutes to basically set up, and so I'm bored as crap. We rolled twice, and we're like, hey, this is the action I'm gonna take. And I looked, and my daughter's playing, my wife's playing, and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? We got to go see the Harp Twins play live. We're going to get up and leave. Sorry, you told me I was only going to take an hour. It took you an hour and 10 minutes to start up.
Yeah.
So like, and I don't, but like,
A lot of that stuff though can be done ahead of time, and then you just play the
Should have
game.
been.
it should have been. And me and my daughter, my wife played. They have 3D there at the one we were at. So you put on these headsets and you play dodgeball. And so it was us 3 on a team. And I tell you what, I've never seen my daughter be so competitive and have such a great time. And she's throwing up a shield, and I'm over here throwing balls. And she's like, Dad, get him. Dad, come on.
Yeah.
And like, that's worth it. Like,
Yeah.
understand that there's families that go to this, right? Like, David, your kid is a little older. So
Yeah,
your
but she
kid
was
went to these
younger.
things.
Yeah.
She was excited to go do these. She's excited to do the things. And my daughter now wants to go back because of those things, right? She wants to play dodgeball that
Yep.
she doesn't get hit by a real ball. And she wants to get taken by Mandalorians, right? So she now, like, dude, she's like, Dad, we're playing hide and seek at home. This is a small building. This sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
I know what you look like, but I can't re-hide. And I'm like, yeah, that's the point. And she's like, and your office is off limits and this room's off limits. And I'm like, yeah, but like, given 50,000 square feet, it's worth the $10 donation that I give the 4 times that we do it. And then we went to lunch. So the other thing I would say is, I don't know, add real food, not this
Concession
nasty-
food.
concession
That's
food.
all it ever is.
Right, but like,
Yeah, that doesn't matter where you're at. It's gonna be
no,
bad.
but like,
Yeah.
we ended up going to Wahlburger. We ended up leaving. So we Ubered
Yeah.
because it was cheaper than my parking. Okay, so we all get into an Uber real quick. We drive up the road. It cost me $5, and then it cost me $5 to get back. Parking was 12. Let's just say, so it was cheaper for me to Uber both ways than it was. So, but like really, I think the marketing. And C2E2, the only way I know about it is because of you. So like I'd say their marketing sucks ass too. But
Again, they market to people that know about cons.
But like, okay, so Tulip City, where's that
Yeah.
at?
That's in Holland.
Exactly. So they were there. They need to add a couple of things to their thing to get. Hey, tell me why I need to come to Tulip City. That's this tiny ass thing.
It's a $5 buy-in.
Byron Center, right? It's probably free to go into.
Free to go into Byron.
Okay, so tell me that fucking 501st is going to be there. Tell me that these things are going to be there.
You really have to seek out that information, which
Stop making me seek. I'm
the pro-
lazy.
The problem is the people that like it will seek that out. Like
No.
I'm constantly looking to see what's going on at Cincinnati Cincinnati, whatever expo,
Sure.
Comic Expo, whatever the fuck they call it. Indianapolis Comic Con, Motor City, C2E2, Fan Expo. I'm always looking to see what's going on because I want to know where I want to go.
We can agree that my brother is probably a bigger nerd for the things that you're not a nerd of.
Absolutely.
Okay, so like you both are on the same nerd level. If I called him right now and said, "Hey, what's the biggest expo?" He would not say San Diego.
He'd probably say something anime.
Right, like, and so, but like, whatever you're doing, your number one thing, and mark the shit out of that, right? Like, mark.
Yeah,
so-
but that becomes kind of splitting hairs
Mhm.
in a sense.
Because if he went to San Diego, there'd be hundreds of things that he could see
Right.
that would be anime related.
Exactly. Yeah,
But the
because
thing with those really,
Tell
really
me that.
big ones
Tell me that.
Chris is talking about, these are huge convention halls
yeah,
that have a lot of like side rooms
Alright,
and everything. And that's where
so-
they do like
Right,
the
so-
panels and
New York,
right.
New York, Chicago, California,
Mhm.
Ohio has a decent one.
Ohio's just really good for being a small
Re-
con.
Okay, so tell me all the other. Okay, there's probably one in Florida, and there might be one.
There's one in at least one in every state.
But tell me the biggest ones that I should be going to.
So
right?
So
But get
yeah.
yourself out
Chris
there.
first
Get yourself out there with the. Okay, we're in Grand Rapids, who should be a huge Comic Con.
should be,
Okay, tell me about these other cons. And you know
and
what,
some do.
dude? So you and I, if we buy one,
So I'll
if
tell you
every
right
ticket
now.
if every ticket from California that I got from Michigan paid me $1,
Hang on,
we'd have $10.
I want to hear Chris's
Go ahead.
answer here.
I'll tell you right now. If you go to Reed Pop, REEDPOP, they're the ones that put on San Diego Comic Con. They're the ones that put on New York City Comic Con. You go on their website, they'll tell you who's going to be there. They'll tell you who's going to cancel. They'll tell you everything in advance that you need to know. They'll even tell you the tickets. The question is, do you want to pay the price?
100%.
Okay. Then you have
Reed does not only those, but they do C2E2. They do Celebration for Star Wars. Chris just said they bought the Star Trek convention.
yeah. Not
So
only
Reed
that,
has a lot.
you have Dragon Con. That's in Atlanta.
Huge.
That's a huge one. Okay.
What's Dragon
Go
Con?
on their website. Go on their website and find out what they got.
So Dragon Con
Yo.
is a huge con, but they literally take up 3 or 4 city blocks.
Right. So we were,
Because they have 3 or 4 convention centers
Yeah.
Yeah.
that go to it.
that's exactly it. So we were in Detroit during a con, and I'm taking it's not the L, it's not the path, it's the, help me out with the
I can't tell you
Bart.
about Detroit Master.
all right,
Bart?
so anyway, there's a tram that goes from Ford Field to, it's not Joe Louis anymore. What is-
Kobo or
Yeah,
whatever.
Kobo Center. And so we're going past, and there's these people walking out, and I was like, oh man, that looks like a great time. The fact is like there's not posters on. Okay, back in my day, right, when you wanted to promote shit, you went and stapled stuff. You had a
Mhm.
street team, right? You posted stuff, and like, so because we were in Detroit, we were going to go to a Tigers game. It was bobblehead night.
Mhm.
We kept our bobblehead because I got my tickets for dirt cheap. And then we ended up going in, getting our bobbleheads, we bought tickets to the Red Wings because it was snowing.
Mhm.
And we ended up going to a Red Wings game and that's how we hopped on the tram to get over there. And then we see these people, and I was like, oh man, if I would have known, my brother would have come with, or like we would have done a whole day's worth. Now you're bringing in people to the city. You're bringing in so much more. Like Grand Rapids, I mean, how many people do you think are actually traveling for Grand Rapids, staying at hotels, and eating food that's not?
Nick, you can't keep comparing Grand Rapids because it's run by a different person. It's
Sure.
run by a different company. You can't, you keep going back. And
No, I
listen, I'm not
can.
telling you how to think. I'm not telling you how to think. I'm not telling you how to think, but
Yeah.
you can't keep comparing it because people who've gone to Repop conventions, people who have gone to Dragon Con conventions will turn around and say, your convention looks like a swap meet compared to the ones we go to.
And it does.
That's the other convention that Dave went to that was run by a run-of-the-mill Joe Q public with a mishmash of different actors for whatever. It's in short, guys, it's knowing your audience. It's knowing what's hot. It's having the collateral to back up. It's knowing when the ticket prices are what, how to judge your ticket prices by the weekend, how to judge your ticket prices by the day, who's going to be your broker, your ticket broker to sell these, and what commission they're going to make, and what you're going to get in the end. Now, Dave, you mentioned that every actor should be paid $5 for every hello they say in the halls without being at their being at their booth. That would deter anybody from going to a con.
It would.
No, but
it would. It would.
Okay,
Hold on. No. Hang on. It would, because the true actors or true stars know what the fans are worth to them. So why would you charge extra money for them when they go to the bathroom after they wash their hands? You want to shake their hand. Oh, that'll be $5. I've seen a lot of. I've been to many Star Trek conventions. I've seen a lot of, and I know a lot of actors. I've seen a lot of it, and I've heard the horror stories. And that's the experience you want to stay away from.
Mm-hmm.
And as an actor, being paid to be there is an experience you don't want anybody to have, because that's fooling with your money for the next year.
Sure. And I agree with you. But the fact is so the point I was making about the $5 is you need to let me know that it's okay to stand in line for free, because there's so many people that think that it cost you $50 just to go meet this person. Right. Like, and so like, again, my brother, right. Like, I should have her sign all this. And I was like, dude, what if it costs you $5 a piece? Who gives a shit? You have 10 DVDs. That's $50. Like, doesn't matter. Like, go even get one, like figure out what it is. And he, I think because we're in West Michigan, which is rich, but poor, right? Like I'm not traveling to San Diego. If I go to San Diego, right? Like, it's balls out. I'm doing this once. I'm getting the 3-day pass, the VIP. I'm doing all of it.
Sure.
Versus the Grand Rapids, where, you know what? Hey, again, the Harp Twins. Do I have to pay $10 just to say, hey, I really enjoyed your concert?
No.
The problem is nobody knows that at this place, right? Nobody's just going to go,
people know that, but people that don't go don't know that.
Exactly. Like, so make it, hey, you know what? And have a stupid little fucking sign. Smiles and handshakes are free. Autographs cost you, right?
The con's not going to do that because it doesn't benefit them.
It could and will.
They don't think it does.
It will benefit them because they're going to draw
so.
in bigger people.
I don't think so. I think in fact, it would deter. And
Really?
It would actually leave a bad taste in the mouth. Going to as many conventions as I have, although many of them single themed, I think really that would deter a lot of fans. And to be honest with you, here is prime example of change of location and what a sour taste it leaves in someone's mouth. For years, the Star Trek convention held by Creation Entertainment was held at the Rio, Las Vegas. This past year, they held it at the Bally's because the Rio was supposedly under construction because they got bought out by a New York real estate firm and they were going to go under construction.
Sure.
Bally's turned around, do nothing on how to work this convention. And they fucked it up. Not to use the language again, but they fucked it up.
Oh,
And this is where a change of venue changes the whole experience. You have 95% of it, which is the actors, but the other 5% is convenience to convention location, ease of access, multiple booths, variety of booths. Okay,
Yep.
we have a Make It So booth and a Trek Geeks podcast booth, and then you have all these other things. So, not having, I get it, change is hard, need to adapt, need to overcome, but this change of location, simple change of location, simple. If you look on a Google map, here's the Rio, here's Flamingo Boulevard, here's Las Vegas Strip, here's the Rio, here's Bally's. A mile and a half down the road changes everybody's experience. And if that alone, you're moving an entire convention, you're moving 70,000 people from one end of the strip to the other. And you're going to go ahead and say, Creation Entertainment turns around, and they don't, but they're going to turn around and say, you know what? $5 for every handshake outside the table. Do you know the shitstorm that's going to cause?
Sure.
Especially nowadays with social media, everybody's on top of it. Me personally, I think charging $5 for a handshake's a bad move. I see it now with a lot of them, because now they do selfies for $20. They do autographs for 40. They do photo ops 55 and up. But to penny ante down to a handshake for $5, I mean, I would be afraid to talk to them, because what's that going to cost? That's like $1 a minute. That's like the old 900 numbers we used to.
It'll be like, oh, you looked at them across the hall. That's 45 cents.
Exactly. I just think it's a bad move. And I'm not trying to dissuade you from your decision. I get it and I respect it. But I just think personally, for me, it would be a bad move.
I fully understand. But like, all I'm saying is, in my head, it costs $5 just to go say hi, right? So like, they need to let people know that it's okay to go talk to these people for free, right? Like,
right.
It's not making the money. It's literally just being like, be clear. Because if my brother knew it was free, he's not cheap like me. He's a spender. Like, he spends.
That's social anxiety, though. That's splitting hairs. That's social anxiety.
But let people know
for the experience, right? But paying for the experience is one thing.
Yep.
You being afraid because you're going to meet your idol, and you can't pony up, or whatever the manly term is, because you have social anxiety, and that's the only time you're going to meet him in your lifetime, and you bowed out. That's social anxiety. That's more of an encouragement to sit there and go, look, this might be the last time he's around. The guy's 99 years old.
Right.
Let him be the last handshake, in that case.
Yeah.
But that's not gearing me towards anything. Me paying $55 to get into a convention, I want the experience, the whole shebang. I shouldn't have to pay more than that to just have fun, be with friends and family, and chat with the people who I look up to, period.
Oh, that's so, I was one of the first people. So this guy, I don't know if I said it, but like, this guy walks in and he's the grandpa from Up. And I look, and he's
Ed Asner.
I'm right at the front, and it's just a random guy. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love your costume.
So he was cosplaying.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you.
And I said, holy crap, can I get a photo? This is awesome.
I think you would have known if Ed Asner was actually at the con.
Well, so then they start
rising from the grave.
They start yelling, and they're like, hey, come back. And I was like, I'm so sorry. And I apologize to this guy who's cosplaying. Like, I didn't mean to make your family come back, man. Like, I just want a photo of you.
We don't mind.
And they're like, no, it's fine. And all of a sudden his grandson comes in, and his grandson's playing the fucking boy.
Yeah.
The Boy Scout.
The full thing, and I was like,
Yeah.
This is awesome.
And it's not. It's just an old guy and a random kid.
It was, right?
Never
But
met
and so,
before.
because I was excited about this, so I'm sitting here. But like, it really is the experience. Like, that was probably the biggest thing I took from the con was,
As somebody that dresses up
I want people to
stuff, I'm bored when nobody wants my picture.
Right.
I'm ready to get out of my costume
Yep.
because it's hot and it's sweaty and I don't want to fucking be in this thing anymore because nobody gives a shit.
But
And it's worse when we
but
have our Muppet hats
people
on
would-
because we don't have any air.
Yeah, we
flow
can't
with
see
those.
with the Muppets on, but when I have people stopping me every 2 seconds for a fucking picture, I'm thrilled.
Yeah, but but not only that, Dave and Mike, you guys cosplay. You know, it shouldn't matter whether you get in the costume or not. It's the interaction that you
Yeah,
get, right?
yeah.
So if they know you outside the costume, that's as great as a feeling as you dressing up as Animal and Fozzie then. You know, or two Tuscans or whatever it is that you have.
With
And I
Waldorf and
think-
Statler hats.
Right. And I think that's where the celebrities enjoy these cons because a lot of them, like I mentioned the example with Dan Davidson, you know, a lot of these people look up to these actors because they mean something.
Yeah.
And in some instances, it's against the old cliche of never meet your heroes. In some instances, it's kind of falls along the line depending on the experience, but you can't judge that because everybody has a bad day, right? So you can't sit there and go, well, I met William Shatner and he told me to go F myself and I'll never go speak to him again. Well, you don't know his life. You don't know what happened. So maybe he just had a bad day about it.
I fully agree with you.
Player that gave him left a very sour taste in his mouth.
Yeah, Rizzo was an asshole.
Right. And the problem, so I'm into bowling, right? And okay, so I meet people that you guys won't know. I'm gonna say names. Okay, so I meet Patrick Allen and he shakes my hand and it's fucking dead fish. Here I am, right? So it was like this, right? And it was just like, and granted he's left-handed, but still your right-handed should give me a decent shake. And I'm like, God, what a dick. Like he was an asshole. He didn't come off great. And it's funny. And then
He wanted you to kiss his ring.
That's exactly it. And then I've also met oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank. So
I know like one bowler. I can't help you.
It's not Patrick.
No, it's the Belmonte guy.
Yeah, him too. But like, so I've met another famous bowler, Pete Weber. Sorry, Pete Weber, who was a complete asshole, right? And so I'm talking shit, and I'm telling everybody, I was like, nah, man, Pete Weber's a dick. Like, I was like, oh, Pete's a great guy. Like, you should what? And they're like, yeah, I did meet him after, he lost for the day. It was a couple, and I met Patrick Allen, and they're like, no, you should meet this guy again. Like, and everybody's like, oh no, these are great people, and they're this and that. And I was like, I think yours and my interactions were completely different. And but right, like that's where it comes down to is people have bad days. People have bad times when you meet them. I watched Pete Weber go outside, chuck 3 bowling balls on the ground, fucking break the shit out of them, throw them into the trash can. Granted, he can do it because he's sponsored. He gets new ones drilled up 2 seconds later. But like, right, I'm sitting here as a 16-year-old kid going, wow, you kind of fucked that up, didn't you, bud? But, so forever I will think that he's a complete brick. So, and other people are like, man, he's great.
Yeah, no, and that's the way it goes.
I have a question for Chris.
Yep.
Because I have definitive answers on this. So, Chris, you go to a con. Who is somebody you would pay to see every time?
Somebody I pay to see every time. I'll tell you the truth. I do it every year, and I don't pay it personally. Actually, there's 2. I'll give you one experience I had where I met Leonard Nimoy on his last convention tour before he died. The year before he died, I met him. I took a selfie with him. So that's one. And I actually paid for the photo op for that. The second one I see every year, and every year it's like it changes. William Shatner. So he's not the staple of it, but when he goes on, and you can YouTube STLV, those letters, William Shatner, and go through the years. When he gets on stage, he commands the room. And he knows what the audience wants. He goes on a rant, he goes on a tangent from time to time, but he finds back on the rails. And speaking of
Desperado.
Yeah. And then also another one who recently, has hit me a lot. is going to be Kate Mulgrew, who played
yeah.
Catherine Janeway on Voyager. She's a very vocal proponent of a lot of issues, and she is very woman dominant. And you listen to her speak; she's very elegant when she speaks, and it's someone to watch out. She is a fierce and a force to be reckoned with on the stage.
I mean,
what a
and
joy
she's
to
one that
watch.
if she goes to a non Star Trek Comic Con, I mean, she pulls from other.
Right, because she pulls.
I-
She's got one life to live. Or no, Ryan's Hope. I'm sorry. She's
Yeah.
got Ryan's Hope. She's got Mrs. Columbo.
Yeah.
You know, and
Orange
she's
is
got
the New
other
Black.
stuff too.
I need to
Orange is the New
ask.
Black. Yeah.
So we have never gone and sat in on a panel. Is
Uh-huh.
that something I need to do?
So it depends on who the panel is with. So say you have the cast of Clerks. Clerks 3 is coming out. The cast of Clerks comes on the panel. That is something you want to do. That panel should not cost you any money. That panel is included with the con. So that is something you want to do. So you need to, this is where a schedule comes out ahead of time, and you need to know, and you need to plan your day like a cruise.
Yep.
Okay, so cruise comes out, you have your day planned from 8 to 7. You know exactly what to do. The same could be said for a convention. From 9 o'clock, you'll see the sign that says convention opens. From 9 to 10, Kate Mulgrew is going to be on a stage. From 10 to 11, the cast of Voyager. From 11 to 12 is going to be the cast of Deep Space Nine. From 12 to 1 is going to be the baddies of Star Trek. And 2 to 3 is going to be a one-on-one with Walter Koenig. So on and so forth. So you know how to plan your day.
Sure.
So you need to know what it is, what it's interested in. Find a break. If it's nothing you're interested in, that is your break. I can't suggest to you enough. One, bring a backpack. In the backpack, you put snacks in there, pretzels, almonds, whatever you want, something quick. What are those? The Kind bars, bottles of water, because like Dave sat there for 4 hours, bet he didn't have a bottle of water on him, and he wishes he did. But
Yeah, I paid like $8 for a bottle of water that day.
so bring a backpack full of stuff, especially if you're not staying at the host hotel for these conventions. You're coming from home to and from. Make sure you're packing your backpack every day.
You can bring those.
Yeah,
Yes,
you can
you
bring
can.
stuff in.
Yes,
Absolutely.
you can. Yes, you
They
can.
have,
If
they have
if they do a
stools now
bag
that
check,
you can extend and sit on the stool.
Yeah, that's right.
if-
You
if
tested
if
one out
you-
at my house.
Yeah, if you have to get a bag check, it's probably only going to be just like Disney World. We just want to make sure nothing's in it, nothing harmful, things like that.
I just texted my brother and I said, I texted him, David sent me the C2E2 dates and all that. And I said, I told my brother, I was like, you buy the hotel and tickets and I'll drive and we'll go. And he just said, where is this? I'm down if you are. So
McCormick Place.
dude, I'm in. I'm in.
So yeah. So getting back to your question, Nick, though, the panels is going to be it's what do they call it? Self.
Yeah. If it interests you.
It's up to you. It's up to you.
There are certain people I would see that put on panels, like John Barrowman's one of them.
I've heard he puts on a hell of a show.
So our friend Jim, who has been on our show many, many times, will often say that his daughter became a woman at a John Barrowman panel.
And it's true, because if you watch his stuff on YouTube,
Yeah,
it's out. There is some things that are outlandish, and but I heard in person, like any in-person interview for him is like, forget it.
well, and again, talking about an experience. So my wife does not really enjoy going to cons, but she really likes John Barrowman.
Yeah.
So part of it is because one of our Chewbacca's here, John Barrowman is absolutely in love with.
Yep.
And I don't want to give out too much information, but my wife's seen little John.
They've been friends
Yeah.
to an extreme. Yes.
My wife's seen little John. So beyond that, she wears her biker scout to Wizard in Chicago one year, and I paid for the photo op, and she tells John, I want to arrest you. And the photographer didn't really know what she was going for, and he kind of fucked it up. And 2 days later, John sees my wife in her biker scout again, and he walks over to her and goes, "Hey, that picture you got, I saw it. Is that what you wanted?" And she goes, "Nah, but it's all right." He goes, "No, it's not. If that's not what you wanted, it's not all right." And she goes, "No, it's fine." And he goes, "No, it's not. Come with me." And he grabs her by the hand and starts taking her over to the photographers. And he goes, "Hey, you guys fucked this picture up. You're going to take it right. And you're going to do it right fucking now."
Nice.
And they redid the picture. And it was exactly what she wanted. And I see her like 20 minutes later, and she shows it to me. I'm like, "How the fuck did you get that?" And she tells me the story, and I'm like, "Yeah, that's a guy I'll pay to see every fucking time."
Because why? Because of the experience.
The experience.
And that's exactly it.
And
Yeah,
they need to sell that. They need to sell the experience.
But you
and
know
it's
what
certain
though?
people.
It's rough to sell the experience
Well,
when
not
you
every
have
celebrity will do that either.
Right.
that is true. There's not many celebrities that hold on before I start accusing and celebrities come and bash your show because of what I say. There may
They'd have to
not
have a celebrity who actually watches their show.
there may not be celebrities that will go to that extent, but you cannot fault them.
Right.
One, they may have gotten in late. Two, they're not feeling well. Three, so the list can go on and on. Do not hate. You know what I mean?
There's still always
Those
some
that
that are
do-
only there for the money.
There are some, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But those that are dedicated to the
Yeah.
fans, i.e., Garrett Wong from Star Trek Voyager, who played Ensign Harry Kim. Again, I speak from Star Trek, and I feel like this should be labeled a Star Trek episode, but this is what I know. This is all all the actors that I know from the Star Trek conventions would go to the ends of the earth for their fans because they are that diehard. They are just as much a fan of the fan as the fans are of celebrity.
Mhm.
And yeah, they don't know every episode, but they know the person that comes up. I'll give you an example. The guy who plays Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Admiral William Ross, Barry Jenner, he also played Carl Winslow's boss on Family Matters. He was also in Dallas.
Really?
He was in V, the NBC show. He was in $25,000 Pyramid. He was in Love Boat. He was on all these shows. I met him my first convention. I sat and talked to him for 25 minutes. Every year for 4 years, he would ask me how my dad was, how's the job going, don't leave the job, how at the time my girlfriend, how the girlfriend is, how the kids are. Come by and have him see him, love to say hello, blah, 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 blah. All day long for 3 years. This guy don't know me from friggin' Adam, but has a 25-minute conversation with me 365 days later, wants to talk about me. That's a celebrity in my mind. That's someone I will pay. You know, John and Dave, and you mentioned this.
Yeah.
John Barrowman would be the celebrity you pay to see. That's a celebrity type I would pay to see every year.
Well,
Because-
I probably have a list 10 deep.
Yeah.
So like Katrina Law, who was in Arrow, she was in Spartacus, she's been in a bunch of stuff. She was at the first Grand Rapids Comic Con that was at DeVos.
Okay.
And Caitlin and I went and met her, and she wanted to do a cool picture. She told us how to pose, and it's great. So she's doing Heroes and Villains a few years later.
You're good. You can make noise.
Yeah, we don't mind. And it's Caitlin's birthday. I think she was turning 22 or something.
Yes, that's right. You're really young.
And I took that picture from Grand Rapids Comic Con to have Katrina sign because, you know, we were seeing a bunch of people that day. And she looks at it and she goes, "Oh, we met before." Yep. And my wife goes, "Yeah, and it's her birthday." So she literally got the entire line to sing happy birthday to Caitlin, which my wife recorded. And as Chris said, this is a memory she will always have. I will pay to see Katrina Law anytime she's at a con I go to.
Yep.
I don't give a fuck what's happening. Well, I'll just go get a selfie. I don't care.
Right.
She's just phenomenal.
And that's what these cons are all about. Bottom line, cons are all about the experience. What you pay does not matter. What you pay matters as far as material. What you're going to get out of it is emotional. You get there's a cliche, you get out of what you put into something, right? So if you go in there, balls out, you're not going to get, you may not get the same experience as if you paid just the $40 to get everything you would have got with the higher ticket price, not having the extra things that you never got a chance to do. And that's what it is. But how to save money though, honestly, there is how to save money is to go to the con if it's the people you want to see. So if it happens to be on a Friday and the con price is $75 as opposed to a Thursday price, which is $55, but only because Jay and Silent Bob and Rob Lowe or whatever celebrity.
Oh, if Rob Lowe was there, that'd be so.
You know
all
what
right,
I mean?
Chris, can we talk about this real quick?
Again, I would get a Parks and Rec.
Chris Traeger.
Now all about
Nick
last night.
Things that people don't understand. I literally made business cards that said Frankie Sharp from Sharp Records because I love.
I don't know what the fuck that is.
Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh my God.
I've seen
I knew
Wayne's
what it
World. I didn't
was.
know what the fuck that was.
Yeah.
Rob. All right, so Rob Lowe's in there. Okay, so I made business cards when I was I was young and dumb and stupid. And I would go see people and I'd be like, hey, I'm Frankie Sharp from Sharp Records. I really like what I see here, but I don't think you're sharp material. And then I would hand a business card and people would be like, oh my God, really? And I was an asshole. Okay, I was, because people didn't understand that it was just straight humor for me. And I'm laughing my ass off. Like, hey, you just did, 3 sets of karaoke and I'm over here like, oh, dude, if Rob Lowe is at one of these things, I'm in. Like, he deserves it.
But I just threw that name out there. But
You
that's the
shouldn't.
one. But you would go
You
see
shouldn't
him,
have.
right? You don't
Yeah,
have
oh
to
my
go.
God,
for the,
yes.
You won't have to go for the 4 days.
Hi,
You
my
go
name's
for the
Rob Lowe
days
from
he's
Rob
there.
Lowe.
You go for the days he's there, and his podcast is fantastic, mind you.
I didn't know we had a podcast. This is great.
it's called Literally with Rob Lowe.
Oh my
my
God,
God,
that's
perfect.
So
all
and
right.
he's been running like 2-3 years.
Can we
but
trade that for the Star Trek?
I was gonna
No.
know.
I'm
I
still,
was gonna say-
no.
Yeah.
I was gonna think you were gonna say, can we trade that for your appearance on our show? But no.
Yeah.
We love you, Chris. We would totally love to have Rob Lowe on.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh,
But I mean, go to the ones you want to go to, do your research, know that things happen, know that cancellations happen, know that things may not go your way, know that you may have a 4-hour wait time, and sometimes these conventions will put it on a screen and say, Kevin Smith will be 15 minutes late, or hey, your photo ops are ready in room A, or photo ops ready are beginning in room D.
so you've been to big conventions, because like I've never seen a screen at Grand
So
Rapids.
if
I've never
you-
seen-
There
So
isn't one in
again-
Grand Rapids.
So again, if you go on YouTube and type in the letters STLV, any year between 2010 and 2011, any of the panels that you see that are taped, you will see that there's the stage, there's the screen that's above them that focuses on the stage, and then off to the side, you're going to see rows A through Z, your photo ops are ready in
Sure.
Grand Ballroom B, or things like that, and they're posted on the same side is posted on either side of the screen.
So I want you to know that, like, officially, I've been texting my brother because this is how this conversation is going. I offered him. I said, "Hey, you pay for this and the hotel, and I'll drive." And he said, "All right, I'm in for whatever you want." And I was like, "Well, one's $550 for VIP plus hotel, or $220 plus hotel." And he's like, "Let's do $220." So we're gonna do the 3-day pass to C2E2. We're gonna go all 3 days. He's gonna pay for hotel.
So we have what, like 13 rows or so at Grand Rapids?
So 10, and then 10 and then like 1, so like 11, and like in theory, because like do you guys count your rows as 3 rows?
Our rows are in a row.
So you have 1 row, so like I would say 11.
So C2E2 has like 24.
Shut the fuck up.
And it's in McCormick, so I mean it's huge.
So you're talking 24 rows as far as convention space usage?
Yeah,
I'm talking as far as like vendors and stuff.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So convention space, and you have 24 rows this way.
Yep,
Or
and
however way it's laid out.
Yeah, and then they have the celebrity area over here,
Right,
and the
right,
photo
right.
ops over there. Yeah,
Right. See, the way they do it the way they do the way Creation Entertainment does it in Vegas for Star Trek is it's held at the Rio, and each hotel has their convention area. So you have the main ballroom, which is your main stage. You have a secondary ballroom, which is your secondary stage. That's where your karaoke goes, your trivia goes, your second stage actors go, right, to do their thing. And then you have all these convention rooms for photo ops and where the photo ops are laid out, for you to pick up and things like that. So that's how it's all laid out. A lot of these, like if you go to DST, which is in the UK, it's like one big airplane hangar, and it's just one huge room with tables and whatnot, and maybe not a separate soundproof room for a photo op. Yeah. Wow. Again, this is why I say do your research. If YouTube's a great resource, Reddit, again, but options are going to be are going to be personal. So
my next question, do I pre-buy? So I'm going to C2E2 now.
Okay.
Do I pre-buy for my brother the things that he wants autographed?
So
you don't have to.
You don't have to. However, if you do, it just guarantees it, because when you get there, let's say Rob Lowe, Nick's favorite actor apparently, is going on Friday or Saturday. Nick, Nick has a friggin' accident, God forbid. Nick has an accident a week before. He's unable to get tickets, autograph tickets or photo op tickets for Rob Lowe. And he's going to get them on Saturday. Well, I'll tell you the truth. The first place you better visit is that photo op and autograph table, because I guarantee you those tickets are going to sell. Now, you may pay $10 to $15 more at the table than you would if you prepaid online.
Okay.
But you can't help it. You're laid up.
Do you get reimbursed? Do you get reimbursed if the person cancels?
Yes, you get reimbursed, or you can exchange.
Okay, then who cares?
You won't get reimbursed for you won't get reimbursed if the ticket costs you $65 at the table, but you say, oh, it was $50 online. You're not going to get reimbursed.
No, I 15. I don't care.
I'm making up numbers. I'm making up numbers.
You buy an autograph ticket, they cancel, you get your money back for the autograph.
Okay,
ticket.
so as long as
you can exchange.
I have 3 months to convince my brother to pick people he wants to go see.
Right, and I would watch that. I would watch that celebrity board closely, because every day somebody can cancel.
Yep. Some of them will pre-sell tickets. Some of them will not.
Can we get sued if we just say who's the biggest star out there?
For what?
Anything.
Harrison Ford, maybe.
Cool. Can we get sued if we say Harrison Ford's going to give here, and then everybody gets their money back for his autograph, but then we sell tickets to the door? I'm just kidding, folks. I would never do that. I'm not an asshole. I am an asshole, but I'm David's asshole. But
you are my asshole.
That's not who we are as people.
You're my asshole. I'm Mike's asshole.
Went on a different tangent.
he has to say he's coming. Okay, so I don't want to, because that's how I think people are.
Well, listen,
I think there's people out there in this world that will intentionally scam you and intentionally
there
are people who will, and
absolutely. There's going to be those
and stuff
people
that do that and going out of business very quickly.
Yes.
Do they? Okay, so that's what I want to know.
Yeah,
so here's my
thing. Reputable companies aren't going to do
nobody
that.
Intends.
Correct.
Nobody intends for
won't
people
do
to
it.
cancel.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Reed Pop won't do it. Creation won't do it. A lot of these big name conventions, like Mike said, they're not going to put their reputation on the line for doing all this that crazy jazz. But Here's what I'm going to tell you, Nick, right now.
Yep.
What you're doing right now, you got the general admission tickets. Great, fantastic. You're going to have a great time. Why? Because your brother's with you. Why? Because you're going to see who you want to see, no matter what the hell happens.
Sure.
This is going to be your time to shine and your time to do what you want to do. And that's the experience about it. Get the pre-sale tickets for your autographs. Get the pre-sale tickets for photo ops. They cancel, but pay attention to Celebrity Board. In case you do have these tickets, that they'll turn around. They may say, hey, Rob Lowe cancels. You may say, oh shit, there goes my life, but whatever have you. But you'll be sure that they'll say refunds will be given back to, you know, whoever's bought them, but you have to contact their service, their customer service line.
Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, be prepared for the vendors area. Make sure you bring some cash with you. As you guys have mentioned already, you know what you want to spend, know your budget. If you're not going home directly after the con each day, bring a set amount with you so you know not to spend it.
Sure.
You know what you're looking for. So a lot of these cons, they'll have for example, a Hallmark table. So they have, let's say, Clerks Christmas ornaments. And you know they're there. Know what you're looking at, know what you're buying, know what you need. And sometimes they'll haggle. More than likely on the last day, they'll want to offload a lot of stuff because they pay by the freight to come back.
Sorry,
So,
Chris, can you repeat that real quick? Because I mean that's a tip because I'm so scared to do that at a con, but like, can you repeat what you just said?
So know what you're looking for, know what you're going to be going to, know what you're going to. So for example, you go to a Hallmark table and you're looking for Hallmark ornaments. Know what you have before you go and buy duplicates. And know that one, the item may be gone by the time you leave the table.
Sure.
So if you want, hang on to it. Have them hang on to it. They'll probably hang on for like an hour or two, whatever the case may be. Make sure you have the money. But, you know, come back the day, go to the vendors area. The best time to go would be the day that the convention is leaving, because they need to offload a lot of their freight because they pay by the pound. So they'll be willing to sit there and say 2 Hallmark ornaments, which were $40, are now 20. You know, you buy
really?
2 for 20. Yeah.
People are willing to get rid of stuff cheaper
People will be
because
you pay by freight, Nick, because they come out, they drive out and they have X amount of freight that they got to pay because they got to go through the weigh stations to get out there, right? So they don't want to pay the same price going back.
Yeah.
Or they didn't make what they made throughout the convention, so they want to make a little more cash. May not be enough, but they want to make a little more cash. So
haggling is a thing that we're allowed to do.
Gavin's not going to run deals in Grand Rapids that he might run in Indianapolis.
Sure.
Because he's based in Grand Rapids.
He drove to Indianapolis.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, if he needs to pick up something from the shop, he drives 10 minutes to the shop, picks it up, comes back.
Mm-hmm.
But Indianapolis, 4 or 5 hours away.
Yeah. But definitely, was that what you wanted? That was what you wanted, right?
Literally, like haggle with people and
you can, but I'm not saying like, you know, the item's worth $20 and I want $2. Well, I can't give you $2. Well, okay, I'll leave it.
Okay, even if we get something for because I'm cheap, right? If I have a $20 item, I can get it for $18.
You're happy.
I'm happy.
Right.
Okay, so like I'm buying a $25 set of dice. I want it for $20. You have no idea how happy I am.
However, do your research.
Sure.
Because some of these things, like you got like the Marvel bust, you know, like the Punisher statues that you find at the comic shops, the 12 foot to 14 or 12 inches, 12 feet, 12 inches to 14-inch ones. They'll normally sell at the comic shops for $375. They may sell on the site for $350. The Comic Cons, they may sell for $400. So you got to know where your price range is and what you're paying for, the quality you're paying for it, if it's the same item. If that makes sense.
Oh no, I absolutely love this. Is great. I hope you're still
So-
listening to the end of this episode because we officially just saved you a shit. I'm going to.
I can
shoot
save you.
a
I
review
can. I mentioned this at the beginning of the show. I can
Oh,
save you a
you know.
ton of money in another aspect if you listen. If you have a listener base for it. But for cons, especially, and this is especially if it's not in your home state. If you have to travel to Indianapolis or you have to travel anywhere outside, don't forget you're not going home to grab money out of the
Sure,
sock
Dave.
drawer.
Oh, he's not
You know what
grabbing
I
money
mean?
out of the sock drawer, but he's going home after.
Right. But I mean, if you're going back and forth and it's a 20, 30-minute drive, that's one
No,
thing. But
it's
if you're
ours.
But that's what I'm saying.
We're
That's
doing
what I'm
all
saying.
right.
If it's a 4-hour drive, you're staying at a hotel.
I am.
It may be home, but you're staying at a hotel. So bring the money you plan to spend.
Oh,
Leave
it's-
the rest at home.
that's awesome. Like
Yeah, bring the money you plan to spend.
I appreciate that advice because like I've never I am the biggest negotiator when it's out of the country and when it's a flea market, I don't look at a con like a flea market. But now that you
It
said
is
it,
to an extent.
now that you've said it, like
Mhm.
I will never pay $25 for a set of dice. I will pay $20.
Well, and
Mhm.
on
Yeah.
Friday, if you go to buy that dice,
No, fuck that.
it's
$25.
$25.
If I go
But
Sunday,
if you go on Sunday, you might get it for $20. You might get it for 18.
it's not it's like this is okay. So things, all right. My best friend is an introvert.
Mhm.
Okay, I am an extrovert. So we're in New York. He lived in New York. Chris, you'll love this. People sell things in New York for fucking pennies on the dollar. So I'm buying my wife a knockoff, Gucci bag, maybe like right.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, hey, I'll give you this amount of money. And nope. Give you this amount of money. Nope. Give you this amount of money. Nope. All right. So we walk away. And my buddy's like, dude, you just got that thing fucking $80 off. Like, how? And I was like, because like they want to sell. They don't need to sell, right? Like it's a completely different thing. Like when you understand how people work and how people think, like this is where it's at. And so he said, hey, I'm gonna fly you down to New York just so you can haggle on my car when I buy it because you're the best negotiator I've ever known in my life. And I said, you got to be willing to walk away, right? Because guess what? They're going to call you in 2 days and say, come get it because they're not going to sell it within the 2 days. And you have to feel it. You have to understand it. You have to make sure COVID screwed things up in the car industry. But the fact is like he will fly me down because my $500 plane ticket, $250, whatever, is worth the $5,000 he saves.
Yeah.
And he gets to see me and give me the biggest hug he's ever fucking had. And he's saving $4,500, like
Yeah.
because I refuse to pay what the hell you think sticker means, right?
This isn't the price you're looking for.
That's a fact.
That's basically what it is.
That's a factual statement. Like I am Obi-Wan Kenobi, purple fucking.
Oh my God, he got one right.
I told
Wait,
you, I
no.
didn't do it.
Purple.
Now he went 1 for 2 because he said Obi-Wan and then
Who am I
purple.
thinking of?
Mace Windu had the purple.
I'm Mace Winduing this thing with a purple lightsaber and shafting it up. Okay, so
Did you
shaft.
Hey,
just
if you're
say
gonna say
lifesaver?
Mace Windu,
Yeah,
you're gonna-
lifesaver. Is that
Yeah.
you don't
Light-
save your own
No,
life?
lifesaver is
Light-
a candy, Nick.
Saber.
It's a
Saber.
lightsaber. It's a light.
Because it lights up and it's a saber.
thought it
'cause
was
it's
light-
a fucking sword.
No, it's not a lifever.
Oh,
Oh,
Or,
they should
or
save
what
their
did
own
Mark
lives.
Hamill call it? What did Mark Hamill call it in one of the
Lifesaver.
Star Wars? A laser sword.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come out with a laser sword and yeah. But I mean that's what you need to do. That's what it is. It's you're gonna get your deals. And you just have to hunt for them. And you have to know that maybe you can't get them at this con because they're out there, they're priced high, but maybe you'll get them at another one. Or you get a business card. A lot of them have business cards.
Mhm.
Hey, listen, I own a business. This is what I have. This is only a limited amount of stock that I have in front of me, but I have a store full of other stuff. Here, come to my website and let me know what you're specifically looking for. If I have it, I will get it. And that's what it is.
So
My tickets, no, keep me current tickets. Yes, clear my current tickets.
I
Yes.
don't know what the fuck you're looking at.
Sorry.
We're 3.5 hours in here.
I
I think Chris probably would like dinner.
would like dinner.
I would like dinner too. I mean, it's 10 fucking 30
I've had
here.
I would like bed.
Mike
Yeah.
wants to go to sleep.
Chris,
I already ate
honestly,
dinner.
Yeah.
hey, so I'm going to keep your a single series from Star Trek, because that's you said it 10 minutes into this fucking episode. And I'm going to keep your challenge,
Okay.
and I'm going to do it. I don't know which.
Are Mo and Jack gonna do it too?
I think so.
They think so, but
the problem with Mo, at least I'm going to call myself Mo. He's going to be back. I don't have a lot of the streaming services to watch.
Well, you do have three friends
do.
that can give you their passwords.
I mean, he's got a couple of passwords of mine already.
I said my brother
I
gives me
do.
all his passwords. Okay, so we're cheap.
Yeah, he's told me already to get out. What is the movie one you use or whatever?
Voodoo.
And you're like, yeah, download Voodoo. I'll give you and then you can watch all these movies that I've got.
I have so many movies.
The only problem with Voodoo is you got to rip them onto Voodoo in order for it to be played. That's the only problem. It's like if you don't have the movie, you're screwed.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, guys, listen. I could go on for hours and hours about saving money. I definitely have a subject for next time we talk.
We're definitely going to talk many times.
For saving money, especially if you have a listener base for it. Thank you very much for having me on the show. Again, my name is Tribuizo. I do I'm a third of one of the hosts of Mickey's Marvels, where we talk all things Disney under the Disney umbrella. And to close it out, do you guys have any like taglines at the end? Or?
Yeah, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your family. I know your grandma's still listening to this because she's up late at night.
What'd you think of your seltzers there? Those are a little different.
We drank them.
We did.
I'll tell you that. We drank them. I'll tell you that much.
I guess we're alcoholics.
So let me try my New York at this here. Oh, listen here. Like, subscribe, share, follow, do what they do. And do what they do. And if you like it, Bucks and Brews in your ear holes. Up your nose with a rubber hose.
That's Vinny
Barbarino. Never tagging off any other fucking way. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna tell you the hot fudge Monday was good.
Yep.
The donut cider was good. This chocolate cinnamon churro, was phenomenal.
Good. It was. That
really good.
Yeah,
so good. Untitled Art.
Whoa.
Have those.
My Great Value water was fantastic.
My City of Portage tap water was awesome.
That's right.
Good. All right, boys. It was awesome to see you, Chris.
Great.
Hey, virtual hug from me to you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, guys. Listen, I miss you guys. I've been looking forward to this since you said you wanted to have me on. So
as much as I say I'm not going to go on another cruise, if you go on another cruise, let us know. We'll be there.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Yeah, take care.
Sounds good. Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll be back next week.
You've dialed in to Box and Brews. You might hear something you can use, like tips on your cash or tips on the suds. You're gonna want to use the smarts of these stuff, because they know the brews, and they know the box, and they know they can't help the stubborn fucks. So listen up, because shit's not funny, and save yourself some beer money. Box and Brews.
Bucks and
Box and Brews.
Bucks and Brews.